Far over misty mountains cold to dungeons deep and caverns old, we must array to the break of day to their enchanted gold. To a daughter go made by the spells, with hammers fell like ringing bells, in places deep where darkening sleep, in hollow hills with wraiths of fells. Where ancient king and elvish lord, there are many a gleaming golden hoard, the sheep and the rotten light the court, to hide in gems and hilt of sword. On silver necklace as strong as the flowering swords and crowns they hung, and dreadful of fire and twisted wire, they've meshed the wound of friend and sire. Far over the misty mountains cold, dungeons deep and caverns old, we must away to the year of Rickety, to claim our long-forgotten gold. Goblets they carved from themselves, and hard golden no man delves, and there they long of many song, and sung unheard by men or elves. The pines were roaring in the height, the wind was roaring in the night, the fire was red, it was flaming tight, the trees with torches blazed his light, the bells were ringing in the dale, and the men looked up with paces fail. The dragon's ire, in more fierce than fire, laid low the tires and houses frail. This is harder than I thought. The mountains spoke beneath the moon, the dwarves they heard the trump of doom. They fled the hall of the dying moon, beneath his feet, beneath the moon. Far over the misty mountains grim, to dungeons deep and caverns grim, we must away ere break of day, to win our harps and gold from him. I did it much better in practice. Well, fuck. Roll the music!
Fathers, what is best in life?
So, welcome to the Fluffenhammer. We've got things to do today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Don't we?
So before we do that, there's something else I want to do first. And that is, we're going to make some characters at the beginning of the show, not the end. For at the end of the show, there will be something different. And first thing I need you both to do is I need to get you to roll me a race. Roll between 1 and 30.
1 and 30. On what kind of dice?
1 and 20 on a d20.
Oh, 1 and 20, okay.
Oh, I've gotten an 11.
I got a 20.
Excellent.
I swear, if this works out like last time, I'm going to kill someone.
Am I going to be a halfling?
What did you get, sorry, George?
I got an 11.
You got an 11.
I swear, Adam, if it's an Ewok or something, I am going to kill you.
George the Ewok.
Your race is Lich.
Oh,
that's
yes!
good. Wow.
Yes!
What I'm going to do,
Wonderful.
actually, is I'm going to ask you to roll another d20 again, George. Because I want to see what species you were before you became a Lich.
Okay. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is 8. Please, no.
The suspense.
Yeah, I know, right?
There we go. Right.
I'm so happy to be a Lich.
Yeah. 9. Sorry,
It's going
7.
to be like a Lich
8.
gnome or something, isn't it?
Oh, George, what did you just say? Why did you say that?
I know, right?
Because you are indeed a gnome.
Hey!
It's still a Lich. It's
Yeah,
still
oh, yeah.
really powerful. It's just small. It's
Just very
fine.
wee.
Okay, Andy, what did you get? Sorry,
Yeah.
20.
I got 20.
So, Andy, you are...
What am I?
Oh, you're a necromancer. All right, okay.
Oh, okay. So Andy and I are
Neat.
getting on, you know.
Yeah, we're good. We're buddies.
Kind of simpatico, you know.
Right, roll again, because I want to see what race you are.
Is that on a d20 again?
On a d20, please, yeah.
All right. I roll a 14.
Actually, I'm coming round to the idea of a gnome Lich.
Very
You
wee.
are just human.
I'm just human.
Just human. Just a human necromancer.
So I just
Human
look like
necromancer.
me then at the moment. That's cool.
I was
No,
going to say,
yeah.
you just look like decayed Andy, right?
Yeah. All good.
Oh, okay, all right. So, I want you to then roll a d6 4 times and just write down the numbers that you get.
Okay.
Oh my god, 4 times you say.
Yep, and just write them down
1,
in a
2,
list.
3, 4.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All
And
right.
that is all we need to do for now. Think of
Okay.
some names, and we'll come back to them later. And at the
All right.
beginning of every episode, for the next few weeks, we're going to add to these characters.
Okay.
Oh, God, this is an ongoing thing?
Yeah, right.
This is ongoing.
Oh,
And
Lord.
You'll understand at the very end. You're going to save these characters, because they've got to stay there.
Okay, all right. Okay, I see how it's going.
Actually,
Okay.
I'm into this now, and the more I think about it, the more I love my gnome lich. I actually want to go and get my D&D books and roll him up. It'd have to start as a necromancer, obviously, but we could get there over the course of a campaign.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here. I hope that you've both got decent names. Right, so shall we get rolling then? How are you all?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm Adam. That's George. Over
Hi.
there's Andy.
Hello. I don't have a big screen because you don't need to see me.
No,
I
that
can see you.
actually is Andy.
It's true. It's true. It's great.
I can see you. I can see you in one of my hidden monitors just off screen here. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
The pigeons.
Yeah, didn't we establish, like in a previous episode, that you can always see Andy wherever he is?
Mhm.
It's true. He
Continuity.
hunts me. Yeah.
There's just
I task
constant
him.
pigeons following him.
The
Oh,
rats
God.
of the sky. Gruff does like Skaven, so it does make sense that he'd use sky rats.
I suppose.
The thing is, when they're not following you, they're always just plotting revolution. If you listen carefully, you'll hear them saying, "Coo, coo."
As long as they're not saying
Oh,
coon,
my
that's the main
God.
thing. I don't need none of that.
That's a proper dad joke. That is
I'm
a
getting good at
proper,
those.
proper dad joke. That is. Wow.
So we're going to be talking about the Nova Opens and some other bits and pieces, and of
Oh, it's
course,
all
as we
very
always
exciting,
do,
right?
oh yeah, we're going to be spinning off into all sorts of conversation as we go along. But first, before we do that, over the last 2 weeks, George, what have you been up to? Tell me about the things that you've been... I'm going to guess it's pretty much the same as mine, which is sweet fuck all, but please
Actually,
continue.
yeah, hobby-wise, since the last time we did this, since the last time we did an episode, not very much, really. Reading a couple of books. I recently finished the Alfarius book, which I told you about last time. That was very good. It was a little bit truncated. I kind of expected a little bit more from it, given what it had set up. But it was good. It was really, really interesting. And as we discussed last time, changes a lot within the lore itself, you know?
Mhm.
So worth checking out, that one, the Alfarius Primarch book.
Who's it done by?
Oh, that's a great question. It's what's his name? Is it Ben Brooks, the guy who wrote the Huron book?
Yeah.
Is it Mike Brooks?
Mike
Maybe?
Brooks, is it? I can't remember. Mike Brooks? I can't quite remember off the top of my head. But it's
Why
it's
does
very
Mike
good.
Brooks sound like a Radio 1 DJ from the mid-90s? Drive time with Mike Brooks.
Actually does, doesn't it? Yeah, it has that ring about it. But no, it's good. It's well worth a look. Beyond that, not very much. There you go. Hey, God, you're on the ball with this one.
I'm
Andy.
trying.
Really
I'm going as
fabulous.
fast as
Well
I can.
done. And there he is himself. There's Alfarius. Or
There's
is
the boy.
it?
Oh,
Could be anyone, really, couldn't it?
this guy. Well, this guy
could
too.
be anyone. But no, it's
Is it
very
Keith
good. It's
Chegwin?
well worth a look. In fact, like all the Primarch books that I've read have been fantastic. You know, granted, I've only read the Chaos ones. Because,
Are you saying that the Lehman Russ book might not be as good as you might hope?
I'm not saying anything. I make no aspersions in that regard. What I am saying is the Magnus book is clearly always going to be better.
Who's that one done by? Was that done by Graham McNeil or someone else?
I don't know. I can't remember off the top of my head who that was by, but it was very good.
Hmm.
In fact, that may have been my favourite one. But then again, bias. You know, I do love the Thousand Suns. I love Magnus the Red. So, but all of them have been good thus far. The only one I haven't read is Lorgar, and the reason I haven't read Lorgar is this is going to sound terrible, but it's because Gav Thorpe wrote it.
Oh,
Yeah,
Cool, Gav.
Yeah. Nothing against Gav. You know, I just don't really rate him as a writer. He's just not my style. You know,
There is absolutely nothing wrong with his writing style, but there are certain people that you're going to come across that you just don't gel with.
No, it isn't for me. It isn't for me.
Yeah.
I've read a couple of Gav's books from the Black Library, like the Eldar sequence that he did, where I think he did a trilogy, didn't he, of Eldar books?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think for me, and this is a personal thing. It's how you sort of preconceive the armies from what you've read of the fluff and your own imagination. I just don't think he captured the alienness of them, or for me they're far too human. Far too human in the way they operate and the way and also very, very elf-like, very sort of Tolkien elf-like, which I didn't really like very much.
Yeah. That is very understandable. No, that's not my bag, man.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good book, but hard to read. You spend a lot of time in the head of Corfeiron. Oh, I'm kind of okay with that. I like Corfeiron. I think he's a really interesting guy. Same with Erebus, of course. I mean, there is a really good. I can't for the life of me remember who wrote it, but there is a very short novella out there about the life of Erebus before he became a space marine. I think it's called The Child of Chaos or something like that, or Son of Chaos, and that is fascinating. That is absolutely fascinating. I mean, getting an inside look at the ultimate Warhammer 40,000 bastard, one of the most malevolent, hateful characters in 40k, and that's going some, isn't it? Fascinating.
Is there a point where there's a book where Erebus just gets an entire weasel run down his throat?
Oh my god!
Choke?
No, sadly not. In fact, he's also very. He's very, very lucky. A lot of his life is fated, of course. The Chaos Gods are watching him pretty much from the beginning, So he's abnormally lucky in his life. Abnormally so.
Just want to see his eyes pop, that's all. Just want to see his eyes pop right out.
It's not going to happen anytime soon because he's still around.
Mm-hmm.
Some 10,000 years later, he's doing quite well by all accounts. He's on the Dark Council of Sicarius. He coordinates much of the word bearers. He's doing fine.
Did you just say he was Cato Sicarius?
No, not the Ultramarines. Get out of here.
No.
That'd be amazing. Cato Sicarius is in fact Erebus.
Sicarius. It's one of those weird things where there was some cross-pollination, or someone didn't really know that Sicarius is the name of the Word-Bearer's planet, a demon world in the Eye of Terror.
Wouldn't it be funny if he was the one leading that destruction, and that's why he called himself that?
Wouldn't that be hilarious? He's sort of like some sort of sleeper agent or something.
Yeah, I'm Alfarius. Get out of here.
Especially given that he's an Ultramarine and therefore should hate the word bearers, worse than anyone.
I'm going to start a rumour here that Cato Sicarius is in fact Erebus, and he's been hiding in the Ultramarines all this time. Who else is going to have all of the success that Cato Sicarius does?
It's a good point.
But Erebus.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
It was Erebus all along.
But no, I mean,
the real Erebus were the friends we made along the way.
But those who are hoping for Erebus to get his comeuppance, I don't see it happening. To be perfectly honest, he's happy as Larry. He's gotten everything he wanted from the heresy and from the last 10,000 years. Everything he ever wanted. So
I want the last page of the last book of the Horus Heresy to be Erebus just taking a piss on the Emperor's corpse. Just zip. Much better. What about yourself, Andy? What have you been up to?
What have I been doing? Not a huge amount, just the usual work and all that jazz. The only thing I've really been doing is when I've been going out and about, I've been listening to, what's it called? The Crimson King. That's the book. That's the sausage maker.
Oh, that's a good one, isn't it, as well?
Yeah. I've been enjoying it. It's not been the most amazing book ever, but it is interesting to see them keep going with the Thousand Sons storyline, and they are hinting at the rubric coming up closer and closer. Everyone's going to turn to dust, and no one's like, that's a bit weird. Let's just keep plowing along. They've got a demon trapped in a weird like robot body guy, and that's quite fun. The demon's like, you don't know everything, and Ahriman's like, yeah, I do. He's like, okay, well, good luck with that. But yeah, they are I left off where the what they call the Space Wolves have captured one of the Thousand Sons, and he said while being tortured, I let you capture me because I want you to help me kill Magnus because he's going to do something crazy bad. And they're oh. And that's kind of where I stopped, because that's where my journey ended for the day. So I was like, oh, well, okay. It's pretty interesting. I'm like, we know where Magnus goes. He turns into a big Flappy Bird, and depending on who's making the model, one with a massive dong. Well, never mind.
Yeah, that is something that people have done, isn't it?
Don't worry, I'm not going to put that on screen, but yeah,
No,
you can find that. It is a demon dong, though. But apart from that, I've been painting up some Necrons. I would show them today, but they're not finished, so I can't really show them. But that's really been about it, hobby-wise. Warhammer, wise, that's it. Nothing too much, really. What about Gruff?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Working through this.
What is it? For people
That
who aren't
is
in the video.
The Book of the Outlands.
Oh, very cool.
So I have been going through and learning all about the history of Squats on Necromunda. And now I know all about the history of Squats on Necromunda. And the Squats on Necromunda are fucking ace. Oh, they're so cool. Oh, just the different clans. So, it's not often I come across a word I've never come across before. And I came across the word lagers. Right? And you may think, but Gruff, you used to drink. And I went, yes, I did. But not anymore. And then I said, no, because this is the name of their caravans. And it's a German word, and it's a word I've never come across before. It's Laager.
Yeah, never come across that one.
I thought you said larpers.
Yeah, definitely come across a couple of them.
Yeah.
Yes, it's...
Yeah, we get them in the woods near us, certainly around this time of year. We get a lot of Vampire the Masquerade larpers.
You have to go and swat them away with, newspapers and stuff.
It's now time for you to invest in a paint gun then, George, and have at it. Because... I've got nothing against LARPers. I've got some really happy memories from the days when I used to LARP. But Vampire the Masquerade LARPers, they're a special kind of people that really annoy me.
Are they a different night breed?
I suppose all I really need to do is invest in a UV light, right? And go into and just shine it around. That would get rid of them, wouldn't it?
You can get them fairly easily as well in little torch forms if you want to burn your resin up. So, easy
Some
enough.
sort of, I don't know, does holy paraphernalia work against the vampire, the masquerade vampires?
I don't know. I don't know much about Vampire the Masquerade. I just remember I tried to play it once when it originally came out and was like, this is poo. I'll never touch this again. This isn't Soul Reaver. I don't want it.
Yeah.
There's something about White Wolf's publishing, and it just rubs me up the wrong way. I can't ever put my finger on it, but if it's Vampire the Masquerade, or Werewolf the Apocalypse, or, I don't know, Crabans the Dancing, it just drives me insane with just how...
Lithium, don't worry, I like it as well, so it's fine.
I'm not attacking anyone. Unless you're a Vampire the Masquerade fan, then I'm going to come around to your house with a chainsaw. But there's something about the way that White Wolf writes that really drives me up the wall. It's so painfully earnest. There isn't a lot of humour to be found in it.
I was going to say, it's that lack of irony thing that you object to, the earnestness of it, yeah?
It's like being bludgeoned by Anne Rice. It just...
No, I do quite like it. I'm quite a fan. I like the... No, I'm talking to Pink Lithium here, because I'm just assuring them that it's fine,
Just as long as you don't go around LARPing in a Vampire the Masquerade game in a pair of pantaloons, we'll be all right.
Okay,
is it just the pantaloons? Is it just the fact that they have pantaloons?
Is it the pantaloons thing? Because,
the pantaloons are going to be the thing that puts me over the edge, and I just tear out your throat with my teeth. Just one of those things, But, everyone can enjoy everything, and I'm not going to really judge you, but I will judge from afar, quietly, like this. But apart from that, I've also been working my way through these two massive tomes.
Look at him showing them off. Look at him showing them off.
Yes! Hey!
Look at him.
Fabulous. God, they're such good books, aren't they? They're so much fun.
Oh, yeah.
How did they smell when you got them? Did they smell good?
Yeah? Fucking beautiful. Got the shrink wrap off it, and I just inhaled it.
Yeah.
I just love how, just completely batshit the structure of those books is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I sincerely, reading them, I don't know how anyone ever played a game with them. Ever.
No. I think the trick is to know exactly what page you need to go to at any given point for the game that you're playing. If you're in a 40k game, you've got an entire sequence towards the end. If you're a fantasy role player, then you've got the sequence at the beginning and also the middle and also a little bit at the end. And if you're playing fantasy battle, then the first half of the book. But also not, because some of it's for fantasy role play.
Some of it's all over the place. There's there's tables that you need to refer to that are in little tiny bits of the book that don't occur anywhere else, right? It's amazing. I mean, but I love it. There's something very raw and very like the people who wrote those books didn't really expect to make that much money off of them, right? It was just a case of like, we want to get this out. It's fun. We just want to have a blast with it. And that's what they did. Like, it's like they just vomited up every inspiration they had onto the page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's...
I mean, these are the books where the Bloodthirster, right, the Greater Demon of Khorne, has another Bloodthirster in its Axe of Khorne that can actually emerge from the Axe of Khorne and act as another Bloodthirster on the tabletop.
And depending on how you read some of it, the whip is also a collection of demons holding a whip together.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bonkers. It is absolute. Also, have you read the rules for the Axe of Khorne that the Bloodthirster carries?
Mm-hmm.
It can throw it. It can throw it, and because it's possessed, it can act as a model. It can fly around hacking at people.
It's got its own movement.
It's bonkers. It is grade A bonkers and wonderful.
I love the idea of somebody playing an Empire army in, like, 3rd ed, which is round about when these books came out, right? 3rd ed, Warhammer Fantasy Battle. And you're there, and you've got your cannons, and you've got your steam tank. Actually, no steam tank. Steam tanks weren't out yet. So you've got your cannons, you've got your mobile fortress thing with all the crossbowmen and halberds on the top. You've got your horsemen, you've got your archers. Then all of a sudden, this big red dude turns up, throws his axe at you, and his axe starts just merrily chasing people down. You've got to wonder, it's like, why did I pick people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially given that in this game system, one Bloodthirster was the equivalent of an army.
Yeah.
Bloodthirsters at this point were ridiculous, right?
Well, it's why the point system doesn't work.
No,
it doesn't. In 3rd ed.
It really doesn't.
Anything that's like mortal based, like the humans, Bretonnians, orcs and goblins as well, you need to have so much on the battlefield to be able to take on any of the chaos things, because the chaos armies just keep winning, because they just swarm. You've got a Bloodthirster, you're absolutely right, a Bloodthirster is an army killer by itself in 3rd ed, but then you start putting in all the other demons, it's like, the Bloodletters by themselves are monstrous.
Yeah,
then of course you get the Chaos Knights.
Yeah, which were... I mean, people don't see... It's very difficult to explain to people now in the age of AOS, because there's loads of cavalry units that are way better than Chaos Knights now. Mm-hmm. Back then, Chaos Knights were the shit, right?
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't hurt them. Most of the time, because of their Chaos Armor, their barding, because of their shields, they had a 1+ save.
Mm-hmm.
And because of its Chaos Armor, it could only be modified up to a very particular point, and then that was it. Mm-hmm. They could literally take cannon blasts, these guys.
Not to sound bitter about a game that I had 30 years ago, but a unit of 6 Chaos Knights can shrug off and massacre a unit of 20 boar boys.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Whilst being peppered with arrows, whilst being charged by the boar boys. No. I say 20 years ago. I realise now that it's close to 30 years ago. I'm going to shut the fuck up.
I didn't say anything. I said
there
nothing.
They are. There they are in all their barded glory.
Look at them. Sexy fuckers. But I mean, they were nasty.
And
Stuff that they managed to do.
They were
Insane.
for like so many editions, weren't they? They were the ultimate cavalry in Warhammer Fantasy Battle. It wasn't
Up until about
really,
fifth or sixth, yeah.
Yeah, it really wasn't until you started to get the really weird stuff, like characters riding like mini dragons and stuff, that there came cavalry that could stand up against them.
Mm-hmm.
It was madness.
It wasn't until the Dark Elf Cold One Riders got that massive boost. I'm going to say in sixth that the Chaos Knights started getting down the list a bit, because you've got to remember you also had a couple of really poor Chaos. I was going to say Battle Tomes, Warhammer Armies books.
There were some bad ones towards the end. There really were.
Especially like sixth and seventh, they were piss poor.
They were really bad, weren't they? And it's such a shame.
Yeah, I mean, on the plus side, they did do things like introduce all the tribes, which was really cool. I love the tribes of the north. But on the other hand, what the hell are you doing? And it was literally just bringing Chaos down too far. They wanted to try and make a level playing field, but you shouldn't have a level playing field with Chaos, because Chaos should keep winning.
I mean,
they need to be the end game thing. Yeah,
exactly.
The worst Chaos book from that era was the very last Demons book they did for Warhammer Fantasy Battle.
Which edition was that?
It was 9th edition. It was garbage. I don't know whether they knew that it was ending and they just didn't care, But that book was awful on every level. It was so badly put together. It was almost a non-functional army at that point.
Well, it wasn't until the End Times books came out that army got anything usable.
No, it's right. It's absolutely true. Again, ironically, when they started mixing them with Chaos Knights again, which they should never have separated them.
No.
They should never have separated them. It's okay, obviously it's great for demons to have their own army. That's grand, because you should always be able to do that. But they should never have made it so that they are completely separate and you can't mix and match them.
No. You should just have different lists in your book to do different things. You should have two separate things. That's
exactly that.
Ridiculous.
I mean, they've realised now, clearly, because everything's integrated into their own books now, so it's fine,
All you need is the Chaos hashtag and you're fine and golden.
You're fine and dandy. Fine and dandy.
Well, you are if you're Slanesh. You're very fine and dandy.
Apparently so. They're doing all right, aren't they? Bizarre.
The 40k ones or the AOS ones?
The AOS ones are doing okay. The Hedonites are doing quite well since they had that upgrade in White Dwarf. They haven't had their third ed book out yet, but apparently they're doing okay.
Yeah, they're really kicking up the channels there. It's quite surprising and also really good to see.
Nice to see.
Until the Caradron get their new book, of course, and then they'll just knock everything out of orbit.
I can't wait for them to get their new book. I mean, the Hedonites books have been my favourite in AOS thus far. They're just everything I want from Slanesh is in that army.
Yeah.
Everything I want.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. So I've actually got to pull something back that we did last week. We went on a bit of a tirade at the end of last week's episode. The last episode, I should say, not last week.
We don't do that.
No, we don't do that at all.
And
normally at the beginning, before we come on air, isn't it?
And it was all about how AOS seems to have absolutely stagnated. Someone made a very good point that in Warcry, the world has expanded out a lot. You get everything that they're doing in the Realm of Beasts in Warcry, which is a very fair point. And so I just want to point out that, yes, that is the case. Absolutely, that is the case. Warcry has done quite a lot of world building, and the army books themselves have done quite a lot of world building. What I was trying to get at was it feels like there's no momentum behind AOS at the moment, rather than it being a closed off world. And maybe I didn't get that across. I'm not entirely sure, but I just wanted to pull that back a little bit. I'm not pissing on AOS. I'm just pissing on the fact that it feels that there's no real push for it.
Oh God, no! I mean, to be absolutely 100% clear, we love AOS. We absolutely love AOS. We really, really enjoy it. It's just that we would like to see a bit more support for it from Games Workshop. That's all,
Mm-hmm.
you know. We fear it going the way of Fantasy Battle, I think.
Yeah, very much so. I don't think that'll happen anytime soon, but in the long term, that is my fear. It just feels like, for example, the community site. The community site does a load of Warcry stuff, and it does a load of 40k and Kill Team and Necromunda stuff. But the same amount of care for an AOS article doesn't seem to be happening. And I think that's the very basis of what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time they had a big news story. I think last time we talked about it, the last thing was the dragons, really, wasn't it?
I think it was the last really, really big thing that we... Yeah, I think it probably was. And it wasn't that big a thing, was it? That's
really.
The sadness of it.
No, those dragons just died off. They're gone, which is a massive shame.
Again, I think it was a real misstep restricting them to the Stormcast. I think it was a real misstep. The dragons coming back should have been significant for the entire world, the entire Mortal Realms, right? Not just for the Stormcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, the orcs needed to be more orky. Or,
the Cruel Boys, though.
You know, Cruel Boys, they needed to be taller, one-eyed, and have tails.
I think they should have just made the Cruel Boys goblins.
Well, I think
that's how they kind of feel.
I think the Cruel Boys would have worked better and had a better response if they'd just all been hobgoblins. If it had been a complete hobgoblin army, hobgrot as they're called now, if it had been just nothing but hobgrot, I think that would have worked a ton better. You know, because then you've got like the lead into to the rise of Hashut. Any day,
maybe.
Come on, yeah.
Chaos Wars for one day. Chaos Wars will happen once Total War Warhammer gets it.
They will turn up. I've no doubt. I mean, they've been like suggesting them for God knows how long now, haven't they?
They were in the first book.
They were in the first fucking book.
They're in the background, and you get little suggestions of Chaos Dwarfs. Lots of them in Warcry, obviously. You know, in different war bands, the Iron Jolems, the Pit Fighters from the Chaos Tribes, they've got a Chaos Dwarf. Just little suggestions.
And then
they will come. They will.
I don't know what they'll literally say they trade with the other races for the Chaos Dwarfs.
And of course, I mean, you've got those humans that worship Hashut as well now.
That was weird. That was
very strange, right?
And I still don't
know
how I feel about that.
The suggestion in the background there is that either Bael'Akor always was Hashut, or that Bael'Akor has taken on the mantle of Hashut.
I would be very with the idea of Bael'Akor just going, "Here, motherfuckers, it was me all along."
It was me all along, yeah. He's certainly old enough, isn't he? I mean, he is like the first demon prince, right? He's been around for millennia, you know, literally millennia. He's one of the oldest creatures. He's older than Nagash, this guy.
Wow.
He is one of the oldest entities in the entire Mortal Realms, right?
I wonder if it is something that they are planning, if they are leaving its release for, or like any news on Chaos Dwarfs for when Total War Warhammer does then do like a combined kind of release.
Possible. It's entirely possible.
I think Chaos Dwarfs are going to wait until the complete redo of the Cities of Sigmar happens. Because
okay. When's that meant
to
happen?
I understand, early next year.
Off in the future. Oh, next year. Okay.
Yeah, early next year. It's a complete refresh from the ground up.
Right.
So that would actually explain why things have been so quiet, because you've got an entire army getting done.
Yeah, maybe
the ground up.
Maybe that's it. I mean, maybe we're going to get an explosion of AOS reasonably soon, right?
I mean, that would make sense if you think about it. 40k has just been absolutely hammered this year. The leagues have just been everywhere for the last 6 months now, 8 months.
Well, I mean, there's so much stuff coming that people are genuinely excited for, that they've been asking for years, right? I mean, there's the leagues, obviously. There's the World Eaters, the new Berserkers, which people are going to go absolutely ape for and have, you know. So they're going to have to ride that wave a little bit, aren't they?
Rumour of a Harud kill team.
Really?
Huh.
That's interesting. That could be very interesting. I mean, if the Votan do well, and they clearly are going to do well. I mean, the excitement for these guys is off the charts, isn't it?
Oh,
Have
yeah.
you seen what's going on out there in the hinterlands of the internet? I mean, the 40K forums can be quite unpleasant places at times. They can be very negative spaces, but whenever you go into one of the Votan threads, people are going berserk. They just love everything about these guys.
Yeah. What's really cool is you've got a lot of people who are talking about how they like the lore, but they don't like the models.
Oh,
so
really?
How to make the models, or people who like the models but don't like the lore, and how to make their own lore. There isn't a huge amount of the brick wall that you sometimes see of people just going, nope, not having that. It's how can I make this work to a way that I want it to work? And that's perfect. That's what we want. That's yes. I mean, there's a question that popped up earlier today, and I'm going to be reading out on the Patreon show next week. If you would like to come and join me on Patreon, there's a monthly show come out called The Fluffin' Nation, where usually I grab somebody, tie them down, and we have conversations. And this week, because of technical issues, I'm just going to be answering questions. Come and join me, if you will. Only $5 a month. I need money to breathe and eat.
And of course, we're in the UK, so to stay warm very soon as well.
That's fine. I'm just going to start burning people.
That's fine too. I start.
So, yeah. On my list, I've got CEOs as the first burning. Right, so, moving on, because otherwise I will sit here and talk about murder for quite some time. Shall we talk about Nova? The Nova Opens. Nova Open Reveals. Or as I like to call them, the Neuromovens.
What?
Nova Opens.
What about now?
I was trying to combine all three words, and they're not words that go together well, so I've just come up with Nova Opens. Nova Reveals?
There was a lot going on, wasn't there?
The Nope Reveals? Yeah, absolutely tons. Absolutely tons. So let's get started
more than
with...
I expected.
I mean, yes and no. A lot of stuff kind of hit, but there wasn't a huge amount that was unexpected, if that makes sense.
Yeah, there weren't many surprises as such. But the stuff that was there was exciting, right?
Oh, very much so. Very much so. Shall we start off with the leagues then?
Oh God, why not? Let's start on a high, yeah? I mean, jeez, these guys. That Grimnir model, I have never in my life been interested in like a dwarf-based army. They're just not my aesthetic, for these games. I'm a Chaos boy. That Grimnir, I will paint the shit out of that. I will have one of them on my shelf any day. He is an absolute corker, isn't he?
Oh, he's
a chunky boy, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't get over it. I mean, these guys look amazing.
I love the fact that you look at the Grimnir, and what you have is very high-tech clothes underneath very low-tech robes.
Yeah.
And there's something about that. I mean, you look at the shoes, you look at the gloves and stuff, and there's so much going on there, and it tells the story, and that's what I want from miniatures. I want them to tell the story. And
he's very much like a little diorama, isn't he?
Oh, he is. And his little doggies that go with him. Oh, I love them.
Oh, they're fab, aren't they? They're just fab. Apparently, I mean, according to the blurb, they're elevated by his psychic powers, aren't they? They're sort of like attuned to him in some bizarre way.
I mean, the idea of the clone skins actually having ones that have been built to be psychers.
Yeah, brilliant, right? Absolutely. Apparently, they're rare. These guys are really, really rare. That's very cool. I mean, this guy would fit in AOS easily, wouldn't he? You could put him in a Caradron army, or any Duardin army, really.
Oh, absolutely.
I kind of wish they'd lent a bit more into that, because I like the Grimnir model. I like the aesthetic. I just wish there was more of that and less of the Space Marines from StarCraft kind of look for myself.
Throughout the army.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
at a wider scale, yeah?
yeah. I'd prefer a bit more of that. Again, they're not bad. It's just maybe with the dwarven runes or the slightly Nordic runes, they dip close-ish to Space Wolves-ish, but they're not assholes. So I suppose that's a bonus. You know?
Yeah, that's a bonus, right?
It's a bonus.
Yeah. They do. They do seem to have like a certain crossover, don't they, with the Space Wolf aesthetics? I can't imagine they're going to get on very well with the Space Wolf.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Nobody does, right? Nobody does. Wow. I mean,
should we move on to my favourite model?
Go on. Then. What is it, Adam?
Right, the Grimnir it's beautiful, right? I'm not gonna argue with that. I find the Iron Master to be amazing. We'll come back to him in a second. I think the Einherjar, I think it's pronounced, and the Einherjar champion is like, if you look at the rules for the Einherjar that leaked, fucking hell.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like, Jesus Christ. Oh, dear.
I mean, that's like a fucking Catan killer. That's insane.
Yeah, he's quite beefy, isn't he?
Uthar the Destined, which we're going to get to because there's some interesting stuff here. The freaking Land Fortress is absolutely gorgeous. But there is something I find absolutely beautiful about a Chthonian Berserk Mole grenade launcher.
Oh my god. They just went all out with that, didn't they? I mean, the name is fantastic.
Well, there's a couple of ways we can break down the name. Is it a launcher of Chthonic Berserk moles?
That's what I would hope.
Is it
same.
A Chthonian Berserk that fires a mole grenade, which is an angry mole that explodes? Is it a Chthonian who fires a Berserk mole grenade? Is it a Chthonian Berserk mole who has a grenade launcher? There's so many questions. So many questions.
I think it's the boring answer. It's not going to be the fun one of it shoots a live mole that explodes at people.
Of course.
My army.
Because I prefer that. If this was an orc army, that's what it would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
My army, my modelling.
If you can make a mole that's made into a bomb, I would like to see it because it would be neat.
I have already sourced mole miniatures.
Of course you have.
Mole parts.
But it's a beauty of a miniature, isn't it? Really, really lovely. The detail on it. The more you look at it, the more you notice the little narrative details.
Very much so. Does the dude with the grenade launcher look like one of the bad guys from Judge Dredd? The Sylvester Stallone one?
Yeah, he looks
like
a little
Angel,
bit like Mean Machine.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. That's the name. Yeah.
He does a little bit.
So, I'm going to get into something here because I'm fascinated by this. The Ironkin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, we know a little bit about the Ironkin, that they are seen as being brothers in arms. They're not seen as being robots there to be servitude.
They're not second-class citizens.
No, they're right there. Does this mean it's possible to run an entire Ironkin army?
Oh, that would be fascinating, wouldn't it?
Are there enough model varieties to let you do that?
Well, if you look at the way the Ironkin armour fits together, or how it looks like it fits together anyhow, and then how the various parts work, I don't think it would be that difficult to make it.
Okay.
I think you'd lose out on a few things, like obviously the Grimnir. And that name, Grimnir, makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
But all in all, I think you could do it. I think you could run an entire Ironkin army. I won't probably know until we get the book, but think of that on the battlefield. What would that look like?
I wonder if, statistically, they are any different from the Votann themselves, or are they just included in the same units and function in the same way, for the most part? Because if that's the case, then, you could run them really easily, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I cannot wait for this book. Problem is, of course...
No, it's actually exciting, isn't it? It really is. As I say, they would never really be my army, but I'm really excited for these guys.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to get the early bird special box set, Gruff?
No. The main reason for that is price. This is an army I'm going to have to do in piecemeal. I'm going to have to do a unit, maybe 2 units a month. I cannot afford to drop down that level.
I mean, how
of
much
money.
is the big kit?
Going from, they haven't given a price yet, but going from the last few years, it'll be between 180 to 200.
That would be my guess as well, yeah.
I guess it does have like a decent amount of models and the codex in as well, right?
It does,
So
and it has some of the bigger models as well, those big bike units that you've got.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not worth the price. Absolutely, for what you get, it is absolutely worth the price. And to get it early, yeah, cool. But I'm going to have to wait till next year, I think, because there's just no way in hell I can drop that kind of money down, which is a shame.
Maybe people will regret buy this and then sell it for cheaper. You can get it cheap.
That would be lovely. That would be absolutely lovely.
Or maybe someone in the audience can buy one photograph and send it to him as a birthday present.
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
There you go.
Yes, if anybody would like to send me a large box of tiny hairy men for free, I will.
GW, Gruff could be a review copy guy for you.
I would not only call you my friend, I would give you a hat.
Oh my god.
I would
Those
give you
aren't
my.
cheap.
In fact, no, I'd be really, really weird, and I'd swap you that box for my old convention hat.
Oh, that's a good hat too. Leather.
That hat's seen some stuff. Like, I'd sign it, everything.
Oh, horrible things.
Sign it. I'm famous.
I take it you guys have already seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles van paint up of the Hackathon.
Yeah, it looks neat.
It looks good, right? Looks good. I can imagine a lot of people are probably going to be doing that.
Yeah, I mean that. I've got my idea for the theme already built, and that's Dr. Robotnik. But
I think that's a brilliant idea. These guys have already got a kind of like Robotnik-esque outline, haven't they? Like generally, so yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Yellow backpacks.
Are you going to model really, really big mustaches on them all?
I can neither confirm nor deny the sculpting I've already done to try and get a mustache.
Can you 3D print some crabs out and then make them look robotic?
I was going to say, yeah, you're going to have to get some like robotic animals going on here, some badniks, yeah?
Oh. Well, first of all, I have to wait for my new VAT to appear for my printer. Because after trying to get my printer to work again, I managed to get it working, brilliant, then the VAT leaked.
Oh.
And I can't test the screen until I've got a new VAT. So it might have to buy a new screen as well. It's like,
woof.
Fuck's sake.
3D printing is cheaper than buying models from GW, unless your 3D printer dies.
No. I'm going to throw this down here. 3D printing is a really good idea if you have the time and the ability to do nothing but fiddle with it. If you don't, it's a fucking nightmare.
So you're saying it's for Jai then?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jai, get that sucker to work. He turned into a giant factory.
Well, I mean, I found He-Man toys you can 3D print. I'm not going to lie. There have been points where I've actually had remorse over starting 3D print because it's been such a frustrating experience. I wouldn't say I've enjoyed it. I think every now and again something works and you get to it and it's really great, but I wouldn't say I've enjoyed the experience at all. I've got really angry at it at times.
How's your hobby time going? I hate it. I hate every second of it.
It's so stressful.
Yeah. And Jerry says, I don't have time to tinker, I just want it to work. It doesn't. 3D printing doesn't just work. The sheer amount of work you have to do in order to do the setup before printing is insane. It's, yeah.
It's a few years out from being really good.
Yeah. You need to have an auto leveler of some description, so you don't have to fart around trying to get the levels right before you print. That's a big thing that needs to happen. Right, squats. Let's talk about something here.
I mean, this guy Uthar the Destined with his big craggy face. I'm assuming he's like the Marnius Calgar Abaddon equivalent in this army.
I think he's
the
demiurge.
big character. He's the big character, isn't he? He's the big character model, right?
I'm going to place a bet here. I'm going to bet that the demiurge are what happens when the clone skeins get really old.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why they get all weird and craggy. Because if you look at Uther, not only has he got the craggy rock head, he's also got the ridges that go up from the face to the ears. He is Demiurge. And for those of you who don't know, Demiurge were meant to be the second coming of the Squats back in 2001 with Battlefleet Gothic. A couple of pictures were released. Nothing ever came out of it other than a couple of ships in the Tau Force, I want to say.
I think you're right there.
One or two ships.
That was it, and that was it.
That was it, yeah. Nothing ever came out of it as they were trying to think about what to do with the Demiurge. I was also surprised that they went for the Leagues of Votan rather than trying to go back to the Demiurge, which I'm not going to argue or be disappointed because I think the Leagues are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Also, have you noticed that both Uthar and the these names, Enhir Champion, however you want to pronounce it, the rocks that they're standing on look like you could paint them up as cheese really easy.
Yes.
They do look like that, yes.
So good for Skaven bases.
Yeah, I never thought of that. Oh, God. Oh, man. To put a Vermin Lord on that would be fab, wouldn't it?
Painted bright green and glowing.
Warpstone cheese.
Warp
cheese. Yay!
I'm more thinking about you just running an entire army of this, but they've all got Skaven heads. It's like...
Now that's a clone scheme that's gone really wrong, right?
I think Space Skaven should have like armor that's way crappier. It should be like armor like Big Daddies from BioShock.
Yeah, it should be just crap, right? Bolted together, barely functioning. Worse than orcs, yeah?
I always thought if you're going to do Skaven in 40k, one, they need to be called Scavengers. And two, they need to just be wearing armor from every other model range, right?
That's I like that idea.
So you've got like these guys in like the I don't know, Space Marine legs, but they've got like a Tau over shirt, and then one of their arms is like an orc, like a knob claw. He's just dragging behind it because he can't lift it.
Have they ever attempted that? Has there ever been like suggestion of like a Skaven-y 40k race?
The Harud originally were Space Skaven. With weird, what was it? I want to say they had warp technology. But I don't think that's right. I think it was all plasma-based warp technology, and that was kind of the thing that made them set them apart, where everything was plasma-based and it just punched into the warp. So they were just firing warp at you.
They burrowed through the warp, right?
Yeah,
they burrowed through space. That was the whole thing,
pretty
right?
Much. Yeah.
Cool. That's a nice idea. I mean, for Space Skaven, that's kind of a neat idea, right?
I think one of the weapons was meant to be like this accelerator that would just fire pure warp at you. And it was just...
oh, God.
As they do. That's what they do in AOS, technically, isn't it? So, yeah, why not?
But then the Harud became weird jelly people, so...
Yeah, the Harud, I remember the artwork of them in the third ed army book, and they were big furry guys with claws.
Yeah.
And multiple eyes.
Well, the third ed 40k picture, it was a Harud Nocturne Guardian, or a Harud Nocturne Warrior, and he was a little hunched guy with the hood over him. And
that's
weird
right,
plasma...
that's right, and the rifle.
Yeah,
he had
musket.
like a big rifle, didn't he? Yeah, I remember that. Jeez.
Because
they had a little section that had like the other races, right? The ones that weren't really worth talking about. And you had like an Harud, and there was a Necron in there, bizarrely back then. There was a Necron in there.
There was a Necron, there was a Kroot, there was a Enslaver.
An Enslaver, yes.
And a Clawed Fiend.
That's the one I'm thinking of, the Clawed Fiend, that's right. It was massive. It looked like a bit like a Yeti or something.
Mm-hmm. It looked like if Beast from X-Men decided to take a little jaunt on a Space Hulk. It
had like talons, didn't it? Like big scythe-like talons, I remember.
I God, that picture, actually.
God, I think I've still got that book somewhere, the third ed book.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say it was called, sorry?
It was third ed 40k, and it was the Xenos races.
It was the main manual, the manual for third ed 40k.
What was the species called? Sorry.
Oh, the Hrud, Hrud.
See if I can find it.
Yeah, best of luck. Best of luck.
I think I found like an artist interpretation of it. Probably not the exact version.
Not the.
Is this thing?
Let's have a look.
Yep, that's the.
No, I don't think so. That's something else. I don't know what that is.
That is what they became. That's what they are.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what they are currently,
wow.
so to speak.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
That's very strange.
That picture comes from a Xenos biology book that Games Workshop put out about 2006.
Right. I remember that. God, that doesn't even look like something from 40k. It doesn't have the motif, does it?
No, it doesn't.
That as well, which is from the tome of the Liberus, apparently, the bestiary.
My goodness.
Right, okay.
Which looks more like a slan than anything else.
It looks more like a slan, doesn't it? It does.
Yeah.
Aha, right. What I'll do is I will send Andy this picture because that's the one that we're looking at.
Oh, Lord.
Right, there we go.
If I click off you, the video for you guys are going to go weird, so I won't do that.
Oh,
okay. Right. No worries. That's fine.
Let's not do that, otherwise you two are going to go all strange.
As a stranger, yeah.
Right, no worries. Cool. So, what else do we have in the squat? So we've got. Let's talk about the land fortress because holy mother of fuck!
Oh, it's really good. They actually they said there was going to be something big for the Votan, didn't they? When at Nova, and this is great. This is a brilliant piece of work.
I like how the turrets are little faces in it.
It's cute, right? It looks like a toy. It looks like sort of like the big toy from a 1980s range, doesn't it? I love it.
I look forward to someone turning this Nurgly and taking the guns off and using those bits as like buboes and whatnot.
Oh, yes. Maybe using it as like a Nurgle Land Raider or something, or one of those mortar tanks that they've got, those demon engines. Yeah, that would be wonderful.
You can have like this little side door popped off and have like Nurglings pouring out from the sides.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And it's actually quite... Yeah, I mean, the first thing when we see a new miniature, any fan of Chaos is how can I Chaos it up, right? how can I put like buboes and spikes and faces on it?
Yeah, I mean, everything for the leaks has been something I've really enjoyed. But holy crap, this tank just...
Has this done it for you now, Adam?
Really,
is this it?
So there's a couple of things here which really sing to me. And it's, first of all, the round turrets. Now, how much... Let's go back a bit. Let's go back to when the leagues first were announced and we first started seeing pictures of what they looked like. One of the things I said was they reminded me of 70s sci-fi. Right?
Yes, yeah.
Look at all the tech on this thing.
Yeah, it's like... This is inspired by so much science fiction art from that era. This has got like Mobius written all over it, right?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mobius, it once again, I'm reminded of Outland. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's... Oh, I'm going to have struggles.
I mean, the influences on these miniatures, like the aesthetic influences from science fiction artwork and comic books, there's a 2000 AD-ish quality to this too. It's incredible. You could actually sit and study these things and pick them apart in terms of like what has been influencing the sculptors, right?
Well, I mean...
It's stunning. It's beautiful.
What they've managed to do is they've managed to tie in a load of new elements but make everything familiar. So you look at something like this, you can see parts of the AdMech, you can see parts of the Imperial Guard, but it's all like ancestors of what we see now. I mean, you look at the covering of the armour and tell me that isn't the beginnings of what Cole was doing with the Primaris vehicles. You see the gap.
It's really clever, isn't it? What they've done is they've acknowledged that all of this technology comes from the same root. Ultimately, it comes from the same root source, but somewhere in history, it's diverged massively.
Big time.
And now is being manufactured and designed with regards to entirely different ideologies and assumptions. That's really clever.
Yeah.
That's a phenomenal thing for any kind of science fiction universe to do, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what blows my mind here is that everything tells the same story. Everything in the range tells, well, not everything. The Grimnir is doing its own thing, but everything tells the same story, and that is, we have STCs. We are using technology that works. And
and also we adapt it. Unlike the Imperium, that's got this ridiculous religious thing going on with its technology, where you can't actually alter an STC, it becomes blasphemy to do so. These guys are like, it's technology. If we can make it work better, we're going to make it work better, right?
There is. You may remember, going back into the mists of time, a little anthology series, I don't talk about it much, called Deathwing.
No, you don't talk about that at all, Adam. I can't remember the last time you talked about that.
And inside Deathwing, there is a story of a warp entity inside a dreadnought-type body, and it's trying to steal a boy. And there's a Inquisitor, a bunch of Ogrins, and a squat named Grim, who turns up in the Inquisitor books later on. And there's a wonderful bit where the priests are oiling down the machine, and he just walks over and he smacks it with a spanner. And that is so much a thing that's in these miniatures. If it doesn't work, hit it with a spanner. It's utilitarian. Yeah,
utilitarian.
Right.
Yeah.
Couldn't get the word out there.
That's it. You're absolutely right. It is. It's completely functional, isn't it? It's stuff that works. It lacks like the gaudy ornamentation of technology that, say, the Space Marines employ, but also the incredible conservatism of the technology that the Astra Military, the AdMech employs.
Yeah, I mean,
it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
Look at the bloody big gun on the top and tell me that doesn't look out of place. That wouldn't look out of place in an AdMech vehicle. You know, it's
right.
It's so smart, and then you've got these like bolter type guns that look like they could be in a Space Marine army, just if they were stripped down and made less intricate. Then you've got the big thing at the back, which looks like it could be in any Imperial thing. It's absolutely incredible what they've managed to achieve with this. And I mean, I'm not a fan of the hoverbikes as such. I think there's a bit of work I need to do with the hoverbikes to make them work for me. I think they're a little bit too pushed forward, if that makes sense. But this thing is gorgeous. And I am in love with the fact that if you go down, not only do you have a little collection of missiles inside a hood, which can be fired, not only do you have the little bolter, not only do you have the railgun, but you have...
Oh, that railgun is going to be a bitch, isn't it? You just know that thing is going to cause mortal wounds, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
You know it is. You know it is. It's going to be like strength 40, and there's going to be a rule where it's like for every hit it does die 3 mortal wounds or something like that. You just know it.
But I love the fact that inside the cockpit is a Liga and his mate, and they are having the time of their lives.
That's grand, isn't it? It's absolutely brilliant.
Oh, fuck me, I love it.
I wish I could say anything about them, but for me personally, these guys feel like the more bland version of the humans. They feel more like
they're not
a generic space race,
not your
that you'd see in a fantasy. Yeah, and there's a lot of the human Terran aesthetic in there, which for me, whenever I play like a sci-fi game that's army based, I always see humans as the default and never go towards them. Because there's none of the aggressive religious iconography, they feel like more bland than the Space Marines.
In a way, I agree, because I don't go for the human armies either. I go for, obviously I go for things with mutations and spikes and whatnot, or really, really alien. But I've got to say, there's something about these guys that does do it for me, and I'm really surprised at my own reaction, to be honest. I'm really shocked, because they are, up until this point, they wouldn't have been my army at all. But these guys, there is something. I don't know what it is. It's an X factor for me. I don't know what it is, but I think it might be that Mobius influence. You know, like what Adam was talking about earlier, that sort of 1970s science fiction thing.
Yeah,
I just love it. I love it to bits.
Well, I mean, me and like outdated sci-fi is, as we all know, I have a fucking love for 70s sci-fi. In the same way that I've got a massive love for like 30s sci-fi. And...
Yeah, aesthetically, I'm kind of the same. I like that stuff too. You know, the old like adventure comics and whatnot, the old science fiction comics. Love that stuff. Love it to bits.
I mean, one of my favourite old sort of 40s and 50s sci-fi tropes is, by the year 2000, we have taken over the moon. Unfortunately not.
Yeah. It'd be nice to make sure the Earth survives first, wouldn't it? You know, that'd be, let's settle that first and then let's go forward, right?
Well, I've just noticed it says here that the Leagues of Votann Codex has 2 transfer sheets with it. That must just be in the box.
Really?
Yeah, that must just be in the box.
In the box, I'd assume. Yeah, the big boxed army. Yeah.
God damn it! I desperately want to have some.
That Codex cover as well. Wow, that's lovely. That's very nice. Oh dear me.
Yeah, I do look how fed up they all look with their shit. Just fucking.
Well, they're dwarves, aren't they? Technically, and dwarves are like that in these fantasy science fiction universes. You know.
Well, if you think
about the head in the back, the head of Zardos.
Absolutely, it is, and it's coming off to tell you that the gun is good and the penis is bad.
Which I was going to say, can we have a naked Sean Connery for this army?
Give us half a chance. I'll see what I can do.
Come on, get him in there.
All I need is a troll slayer and some green bloody akin. Make it nappy.
Cassius335 has asked if there is an actual god of tech in 40k. Do you think he prefers the squats because they actually fix stuff? Well, the god of tech would be the Omnicia, wouldn't it? And the Omnicia is probably a Catan.
Yeah.
Probably a Catan, so...
So it's probably in prison somewhere if it is a Catan.
Yeah, well, under Mars. That's where it's supposed to be. Well, sort of under Mars, but it got out, didn't it? It's the Void Dragon.
Yeah.
It's the Void Dragon, you know, technically.
I've always had the
Although there
was
wasn't. Do you guys remember when the Chaos God of Technology was Khorne?
Yes. That's exactly what I was about to say.
Way back when. Because technological innovation has traditionally always been driven by war, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Khorne at one
is
point
the god of
was
war.
also the god of industry, and industry begets tech. So,
yeah, once upon a time.
It kind of still is in AOS.
I think it's something I mean, they haven't specifically mentioned it for a long time. No. I mean, like a really long time. I think the last time I remember it being printed in an army book was in the old epic Renegades. It wasn't even a book; it was a pamphlet. It was just like paper, you know. That was a long time ago. Whether it's still true, I mean, who knows? There's references to it still, though. I mean, like the Khorne Demon engines, like the Skull Cannon and whatnot, are references to it.
Guys, I've just had a thought. Right,
stop that.
You know the Grimnir's got the 2 little corvs next to him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, paint him up as Hack and Slash from Reboot.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fabulous. Yes.
That could be fun. Yeah, I like the idea
that could work very, very well indeed. I like that.
I don't think he'd make a very good Megabyte, though.
No.
But that's okay.
Yeah, you can't really see him there, can you? Now begins the hunt. Yeah.
If you give him, do it with like a Necron Lord, that would probably work, right?
Yes, you can get away with that.
Yeah, Necron Overlord would work.
Christ almighty, I'm not going to buy this guy twice just so I can turn one of them into a...
But what if you did?
Oh god, there's 2 builds for him as well, isn't there? So you could actually have the male and female one. Yeah, there's a female version as well.
Oh, that's...
They didn't show that, did they?
They did. They showed the head here on the stream, but they didn't actually show the...
Oh, on the stream.
Yeah. They didn't show the full miniature built as the female. They just showed the head, I think.
I wonder why they didn't show it in the article then.
Weird. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm now picturing what an entire Necron army would look like in Megabyte's colours. You know, that black, that sort of blue and green and red. That would look really good.
What's the smallest speaker you can get? Like, smallest Bluetooth speaker? Because if you can get one small enough to be put underneath the bases of your Necrons, and then just have a load of Tony J on your phone, and you just get them to start talking in Tony J's sex voice, that would be amazing.
Oh, jeez.
I think it'd probably just be easier and better if you just ran up to people and shoved your phone in their face playing the tunes.
Possibly, but...
Or Tony J, I mean.
Imagine, if you will, you just set up all your army, and then you just get him, like, start playing the intro from Soul Reaver, where the Elder God is just talking.
So good. So good.
Shall we move on to the next story?
Yeah, sure. What else have we got? Is this the Warhammer Underworlds thing? The Gore Chosen of Drom.
That is. Do you want to take it there, George?
Oh, well, these are Khorne miniatures, and I've never been a Khorne fanboy, but they are Chaos, so yeah, why not? They're obviously inspired. They're going to be part of the what are they called? Khornes, guys, the Blades of Khorne. They're called now,
the Gore
aren't they?
Chosen and the Blades of Khorne, yeah.
The Gore Chosen, that's right. They're aesthetically derived from them, and boy, are they good. I mean, wow, the priest miniature, Drom himself with that head crest.
Totally not Aztec.
Wow.
What are you talking about?
No, totally not.
I mean, it's
totally not at all.
If you were going to do that, doing something resembling the Emperor's New Groove isn't going to happen at all, is it?
Well,
but I mean, I'm not a Khorne guy. I'm really not. He's my sort of least favorite of the Chaos powers. But wow, I mean, these guys are fantastic. You're going to see them turning up all over the shop. They're going to be people in, from 40k converting them into World Eaters, obviously. They're going to turn up in Bloodbound armies across the board because they are stunning. They're just brilliant. You don't often get like Khorne miniatures that are this ornate.
Well,
no, I suppose this is what happens when you go more into like dedicated like stranger things that Warcry can do rather than the generic kind of fighters, right?
Yeah, and I love that.
But you did get the Slaughter Priests, I suppose, didn't you?
Yeah, I suppose you did. Yeah, which are kind of interesting.
Yeah, they weren't quite this detailed, but again, when you go into Warcry, they can make very
when they go
characters, right?
That's it. When you go into Warcry, each of the miniatures is a character, right? So it's given the same attention that a character model would be. And they're just stunning. There's so much going on. Although my personal favorite of all of them is the large guy with the hammer. I think he is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they didn't do a close-up shot of him for some reason on the article.
Not. I mean, unfortunately not. He's a very particular... What are they called? The sort of smiths from the Bloodbound. They're these like mythical smiths of Khorne that just appear in warbands out of the wastelands and forge their weapons for them. That's what he is. And oh my god, he is just wonderful. I
looks
love
like
him.
A dude from Doom. Both of the neither of the priests, but both of the other guys look like Doom guys.
They do look like Doom demons, don't they?
Do you remember the Khorne champions that came out for Necromunda? Did you guys ever see them?
Yes, from a while back.
Yeah, a couple of years back now. Yeah. So what's really cool here is they've taken that aesthetic from those guys and AOS'd it.
Yeah.
Right? It's absolutely beautiful. The Aztec priest guy at the front, obviously, he's his own thing. But the other two guys, there is almost a one-to-one evolution you can see between the whatever I can't think what they're called now. I shall call them Gore Boys because I can't think of what the hell they're called. But they're almost the exact same thing, only turned into AOS, and I love it. I'm right in for it. The guy with the skull for a face, well, they've both got skulls for faces, but the chunky boy rather than big muscle boy, he's got the same kind of fire effect in him and everything. It's brilliant. I love it.
It is really lovely, isn't it? I mean, the really big guy, the hulking guy. I love the notion that he's a slaughter priest who's turning into a Korgorath.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they're born. I mean, there was never really any background on where the Korgoraths actually came from, but I like the idea that like Khornate champions and priests who have just gone overboard perhaps become them.
I always like the fact that if you scare a cold enough, it just vomits skulls at you.
Yeah, that is funny too. Yeah,
just jump out.
But If I was going to get one of these guys, it would be the big guy with the hammer. I think he's spectacular. And it's a slightly different aesthetic for Khorne as well.
It is, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love the fact that the guy here is chubby. I love the fact he's chubby. It just makes me so happy seeing a chubby Khornate. I don't know what it is.
Just a little pork, not super pork, just a little pork.
No, well, interestingly, in the the White Dwarf with the World Eaters Index Astartes article in it, there's a whole page of conversions of World Eater models, and one guy he's taken the Blight Lord Terminators from the Death Guard and turned them into blood-swollen Khornate Terminators.
Ooh.
Which is a lovely idea, right?
That is really cool.
I love that. Gorged on blood. I mean, if I was going to do a Khorne army, that's what I'd do. They'd be like cannibalistic, and they would be gorged on blood and bone. They'd just eat their enemies, which I think is fabulous.
This means, of course, that you would have to model at least 2 of them just eating a femur.
Yeah, just gnawing. But no, they're lovely. They're a lovely little warband. They're probably not miniatures I would get for myself because I'm not really a Khorne guy. But wow, I'm very, very pleased for the people who are.
What's your thoughts on them, Andy?
I usually like my boys fully armored. So I got the one that came with the Fleshhound in like season 1, whatever those guys, Margot's guys,
Ravagers. Yeah.
Oh, what's it called? Yeah, the character you're talking about.
Marek's Ravagers or something similar.
Yeah. Those are the ones I got, and they were neat. I enjoyed painting them, but these guys feel a bit more, I don't know, human. Obviously, even the big one that's turning, and so isn't my cup of tea quite as much as just pure Chaos warriors.
Yeah,
but I still like them. I think they're nice. It's just I'd probably steer clear of them, and they're not vampires. So what can you do?
They're not vampires, so not technically.
No.
They probably do drink blood, but not vampires in the
steal blood that's not theirs.
Yeah, the strictest sense.
Right, moving on then. Shall we talk about...
These are a bit of a surprise. The Blood Pelt Hunter for the Ogre tribes.
Yes.
I mean, we were just talking about these guys, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we said it was never going to happen.
We
said,
did,
where
and
are the ogres?
We were dead wrong because apparently they're coming out reasonably soon, right? For third ed.
We need to stop talking about things that aren't happening because then they do happen.
Because then they happen, right?
Yeah, the next day.
So on the last episode...
the Emperor's Children are never going to happen. Fulgrim, no, we're never going to see Fulgrim in 40k.
No, unfortunately, it only works if we come at it sideways. If we just come out and say it never happens that way. What I've noticed is if we come at something sideways, it usually happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. And also, the day...
In fact, I was really shocked. The Ogre Moor tribes and the Sons of Behemat are due, in autumn.
Weird, isn't it? Absolutely weird.
Really shocked. Really shocked.
I love the fact that the day after we released that episode, there was a Warhammer community of show us your ogres.
There wasn't there? Like almost instantly, yes.
I was just sitting there, for fuck's sakes. For fuck's sakes.
I mean, just like we said in that episode, they're not for me.
No,
they're just not for me. I'm not a fan. But this guy looks great. I mean, he's a lovely miniature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's absolutely fine. I mean, I think everything about the stuff he's wearing interests me, but him himself, it's not for me at all. Hello, Rufus. Bye-bye, Rufus.
Oh, did she just go by somewhere on a hunt? Probably. I don't know.
Looked straight at me.
But yeah. Yeah, he's fine. I mean, and I'm glad that the Ogre tribes are getting a little bit of attention. They're actually getting a new book. Cool.
Andy's actually showing off King Broad, so we might as well jump straight into King Broad.
Yeah, I think I didn't get the ogre story up. I apologise for that.
Sorry.
That's King Broad. Ogres and giants are the same. We all know. They're all just dudes that are big.
So what's everyone's feelings on King Broad? Because I'm in two minds.
Big.
He's massive, Eddie. He's absolutely enormous, this guy. He's a bit knock-kneed, isn't he?
Yeah, the pose kind of makes me think, like, I don't know, I look at him and he feels only a little bit more different than the other giants.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. Like, his clothing and outfit are different and his weapon are different. But I don't know, it's something about the pose that just makes me go, it mentally just goes, it's too similar.
So it's the giant kit with an extra screw.
Oh, is that what it is?
Well, that would explain it.
Right,
okay.
Well,
that's a shame. I get it, it saves money, but that's a bit of a shame.
Yeah, especially considering that he's supposed to be a special character, right?
Yeah.
I want the creepers.
Are they the little red things?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cute.
So,
they'd be good on a goblin.
Creepers, tiny red imps that braid the beards of these giant beings, apply their war paint and ride them into battle.
They're the hairstylists.
Oh, that's brilliant. That is brilliant.
They are the AOS equivalent of Joel Schumacher, and I am all in. I love them.
Are they like the little tiny birds that pick the teeth of crocodiles?
Kind of, I imagine, yeah.
Yeah, that's cute.
So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be watching out for bits sites, and I'm going to be trying to buy a ton of creepers.
I was going to say that would be very expensive to buy the entire kit just for those things, wouldn't it? Because he's big, isn't he? He's going to be very expensive.
Yeah, I mean,
one thing I do like about him is he looks too tired.
Mm-hmm. He's had enough of your shit.
He looks very tired, like he needs to sleep.
Well, no, it's not even really that. Tired, doesn't he?
It's like he's had a 24-hour shift and he's been called back to work for another 24-hour shift. And he's like, I don't want to.
I don't want to do this, but I must. I'm too big to not have the heating on. Do you guys know about the Sons of Behemoth and why King Brod exists?
No.
Okay.
No, not really.
So this is quite cool. So the Gargants have just been Gargants for years and years and years. And it's only recently when they've started getting bigger and becoming the Mega Gargants, or as I like to prefer to call them, Megargants, because it's right fucking there. Not Mega Gargant, call them Megargants. It's right there. Fell apart at the last hurdle on that one. Because Behemoth died, they've been getting bigger in order for one of them to take his place and become the God Beast.
Oh, right, okay.
King Brod is the one that is going to take his place. So what we've got here is him proto-God Beast.
Oh,
he's about to become the father of Gargants. And it's...
Right, okay. So, I mean, is that actually happening then?
Yeah.
Like, metaphysically, he is going to replace the God Beast at some point?
Yeah, because there isn't a God Beast and nature abhors a vacuum. So he's slowly and surely becoming the God Beast in order to be the father of Gargants, because there isn't one at the moment. Because Sigmar's
so he's almost like a balancing factor. Yeah?
Exactly, yeah. And it's such a cool idea that these Gargants be getting bigger and bigger to fight amongst themselves for one of them to become the God Beast. And it's such a great concept.
I like that a lot, actually. That makes me want to read the book a little bit more, to find out about the metaphysics.
The Sons of Behemoth is a really, really good book. It's pitched just perfectly to get that little fairy tale feel to it, but also being grimdark and horrendous at times.
Yeah, I remember when they first introduced them, they had this really sort of like proper old school fairy tale vibe about them.
Yeah. I mean, it's proper grim fairy tales. It's really good. And what's cool...
And of course...
Sorry?
Wouldn't it be neat if, like, one of the different faces for the giants had, like, a giant eating a goblin, so his mouth was open and the goblin's just, like, holding the mouth open going, ah!
Oh, that would be ace.
That'd be a good character model, right?
Fantastic,
oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be fun.
God, they need to do that.
The best of the giants that I really like is the Kraken Eater. Because apparently
that's my favourite too.
They just walk off into the sea and just walk along its bottom, just like doop-be-doop-be-doop-be-doop.
Yeah.
As
you do.
Occasionally just break ships and eat Kraken. They're great.
Of course, we've also got the rather surprising Battletome roadmap underneath.
Yeah.
So the Disciples of Reach are just round the corner, apparently, along with the Lumineth.
Which makes the
Didn't expect that.
fourth book so far.
Oh
my
really?
God.
Are you kidding?
It might be third.
You know what's worse? They get a new cover image. And yet other armies that had their book didn't.
It's true. The Nighthaunt. Yeah, it's true.
And Skaven as well. They didn't get a new cover. There were quite a few others that didn't either.
That's
Lumineth
naughty,
fourth book,
it?
new cover. Is it because like the Lumineth are like fully like AOS-y?
I think that's it. Yes, they're one of the
That's
big
neat.
armies, aren't they? They're one of the. They're a complete AOS range, like the Disciples of Zeech. So of course they get a new cover too.
I swear to God, if
Nighthorn are completely AOS.
Yeah.
That's so annoying.
I swear to God, if the Lumineth get like a new miniature for this book release,
they almost certainly will get a character miniature because they all do.
I'm going to eat it. I'm just going to eat the book in front of the manager of my local games workshop. Walk in, pay for it, and just devour it.
They'll almost certainly at least be like a character miniature of some description.
Yeah,
probably at least one. Yeah.
But I am looking forward to the Disciples of Zeech. I mean, these Chaos-specific books, the Chaos God-specific books for AOS have always been dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
They've always been fantastic reads, if nothing else. And the Disciples of Zeech books have always been wonderful. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Well, if you remember back when we first started, the Disciples of Zeech book was the one that turned AOS round.
It was the one, wasn't it? It was the one that dropped and changed everything, right? It changed the nature of chaos in the game completely because it was the first God-specific book and the first God-specific range ever. It was wonderful, and it has, it's gone from strength to strength since, really.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, the last one was really good as well.
Yeah, it was. It really was. And then, of course, in autumn, we've got the Ogre, Moor Tribes, and the Sons of Behemat. And then, in winter, one that they've really been pushing hard, haven't they? The Slaves to Darkness.
Absolutely.
I wish it wasn't called Slaves to Darkness. I wish to be an old man, and I wish it was a Realm of Chaos book.
Yeah.
I wish all of the fantasy ones were all just called Realm of Chaos.
Realm of Chaos, yeah.
So then you could have your Realm of Chaos series throughout the eras.
So it sort of unites them. So they were called Realms of Chaos, Disciples of Zeech, Realms of Chaos, Magnakin of Nurgle, Realms of Chaos, Hedonites. That would be a nice sort of uniting label for them all.
And I say that because the cover does remind me of the Realms of Chaos book from however many where the multi-parts kit started, whatever
1996.
It reminds me of
it was the one that you gave to me, Adam.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one.
Yep.
That's the one. That was when the plastic kits really started to filter in. And the Chaos Warriors are one of the earliest multi-part kits you could buy, right?
Yeah. There was them. There was the Skaven and Beastmen.
Those hunched ones, yeah.
Oh, the heads.
Oh yeah, they're very hunchy.
Perfect for sculpting beards into, and then calling them Chaos Dwarves. Yeah.
But yeah, they're throwing a lot at this book, it seems. There's a lot of attention being thrown at this book. So you've got new Chosen, and there's the new Demon Prince that we've already seen. There's apparently a couple of other things coming round the corner as well.
That's the one.
That's the one.
So pretty. Love it. Well, I think...
I guess
that's
a good lead into more chaos stuff, though, I guess, right? Because there's more to talk about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Written by Tumas Perinian, I believe, that book. And it was a bit of a corker when it came out, because it changed, that was the Realms of Chaos book that changed the format of Chaos armies in Fantasy Battle completely. Yeah. So before that, the Realms of Chaos books, the armies were just these explosions in paint factories. You had demons and you had dragons and chaos warriors and all of different gods and whatnot. That book, the Tumas Perinian book, it established this notion that you took detachments in a chaos army. So you could have a demon detachment, a beastman detachment, and a chaos warrior detachment. And they could all work together if you wanted, or you could focus on one or the other. It was just an interesting way of organizing chaos back in the day.
Oh, I'm having flashbacks now. Why did I give that book away?
It's really good. It is a lovely book. I mean, it's a really lovely book. But you
can't have it back.
reading it through, how tiny were armies back then?
Oh yeah.
2,000 point armies, 2,000 point Chaos Warrior armies are literally 3 units. And that's it.
I mean,
it's your Chaos Warriors, your Chaos Knights, and your Lord or your Sorcerer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 2,000 points. It's oh my God.
To throw a little bit of ideas into
Oh,
the
there they are!
They're not warriors, but they are demons. But you got the 5th edition, the Bloodthirster there.
Yeah, right. Wow.
That's good stuff.
That's a big army as well.
That's a massive Chaos army. That's
a Bloodthirster, Demon Prince. You got the Juggernauts there, Flesh Hounds.
You would have to go to a special tournament to field that army in that under that book, because there's no way you'd get a Demon Prince and a Bloodthirster into a sane-sized army.
How do you even beat that army?
Back then with the Bloodthirster in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Pray.
Pray for a 6.
Well, no, pray for an earthquake that topples the miniatures over and means you can't finish. You know,
that's true.
Because it's madness. That army there under that book would be madness. But I mean, I've really liked the Slaves to Darkness books they've done thus far for AOS, so I'm excited for this one. I just hope that they do something narratively with it, to move it on a little bit. I want to see what Archaon's doing, because Balacor's been very active. He'll be in this book as well. Balacor's been very active. Archaon has been shunted right into the background recently.
Yeah, it's part of what we were saying last week, that the narrative seems to have stalled.
Yeah, it does a little bit. There needs to be an
maybe Slaves to Darkness will kick it off again. Maybe that's what the big thing will be.
Maybe so. Maybe that'll be it,
I have a theory, and let's see if this pans out. Slaves of Darkness are getting a massive push because the Cities of Sigmar is coming.
Yes, I think you're right.
So you need to balance this. So you have a massive push by the Slaves of Darkness, to be then met by the Order of the Cities of Sigmar coming the other way.
I think that's
what's going to happen. That's what
I
think that's going to be the start of next year, and that's going to be the narrative going forward for the next year. This push happening.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, have you seen that? I mean, the boxed army for the Slaves to Darkness. I want it for the box. It's gorgeous. That's one of the most beautiful boxes they've ever done.
Well, should we talk about that? Because that's one of the Nova stories.
Oh, it's I'm getting that. I am having that. It's wonderful, that is.
Right, moving over to the Slaves to Darkness themselves, then let's
do it. I mean, it's not. It's not a big army because it's a Slaves to Darkness army, and they don't tend to be big. But boy,
they don't have to be.
No, they don't have to be. I mean, my God. I mean, this is an interesting army, actually, because I'm assuming from this boxed set that Chosen have now moved over to core. Because Chosen didn't used to be core before. They were your elite slot, technically.
True.
But it looks like because they are all you get in this box set, they're your core units. So... Are Slaves to Darkness going to be able to take Chosen as core? If so, that's mental. That's madness. If they're as tough powerful as they used to be, yeah.
I would like to do a Chaos Army.
Yeah, a Slaves to Darkness one, Adam.
Kind of.
What I want to dye your hair black and grow a part over your eye as well. Start listening to Korn again. Papa Roach.
Go! Don't make me scat in a Korn voice. I'll do it all day long. I have fallen in love with the Ogroids.
Oh.
Absolutely fallen in love with them. I fucking adore them. So
they're really good, aren't they?
Oh my God. So I've got the two that already exist, the Myrmidon and the Thermitage. I've just got them just over there, which you can't see because the camera's pointing this way rather than that way. But now we've seen like an actual unit of them.
Yeah, this is really strange. I mean, like, I love it. I love the fact that they're really expanding these guys and they're making them like their own bespoke species in Chaos.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm all for it.
My guess is that... Sorry?
Is it not a little bit of a detriment to say the Beastmen of Chaos? Because from a visual standpoint, these are Gorbals, right?
Well,
they're very similar.
Minotaurs.
Yeah, they're very
Well,
similar. Well, Gorbals are Minotaurs.
Yeah,
Gorbals are Minotaurs. It's,
So does it not kind of take away from the Beasts of Chaos that these guys, unless these go in the Beasts of Chaos, so the Beastmen of Chaos books?
I think if, as and when the Beasts of Chaos hit these, there might be some cross-pollination between.
Yeah.
I think that's very, very likely indeed.
I guess maybe that's my issue. I'd prefer the Slaves to Darkness to be more the human-y kind of stuff.
The sort of warriors and the marauders. I tell you one thing they do need to do, really they need to do it for this book, a new marauder set. Please.
Yeah.
Please, because it's ancient. It's ancient.
There's something at the bottom of this article, which is... this set will be the first place you can acquire these updated rules. There's more to come, but the Dark Master has wreathed them in shadow until the time is right. Which makes me think that there is more to come for the slaves before we get that box.
The Marauders have to be done, because that is, again, one of the oldest sets in existence.
And you kind of need unless you're doing an entire elite army, you kind of need your light, gubbin forces to die.
I mean, you want your Marauders because they're the tribes, they're the peoples, and they're fun. It's great to have them.
Let me give you a little suggestion here. The Marauders are replaced by the Warcry boxes.
That might be it. That might be it.
No, that's exactly it. Because if you remember, we saw a preview of the Slaves to Darkness contents page, which is why I got excited when I saw the Horns of Hashut. Fuck you, Games Workshop.
Oh.
And what you saw was that each of the tribes had their own rules, which means the Marauders are being replaced by those guys.
That's fine, because those miniatures are all stunning. They're all stunning. And because they all have their own flavour and character, that makes the tribes even more interesting. Yeah, great, I'm up for that.
Which sorry, my brain just went fart there. It was just...
Andy, I thought
I got Warcry and Shadespire mixed up. It's like, oh god, no, I meant Warcry. Did I say Warcry? I think I said Warcry. I did say Warcry. That's okay then. And we know that they're coming out as AOS boxes with 20 miniatures in each, so that's a unit.
Fantastic.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
Well, that makes perfect sense, because those are the tribes of Chaos, right?
Exactly.
Makes perfect sense. Also, it's a nice way of moving them on from that sort of old... I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the old Norscan look, but it is very old hat, isn't it? Yeah, it doesn't really fit in AOS like it did in Fantasy Battle, right?
No,
I think it could fit, but only in specific places.
That's it, only in the very, very specific areas, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the old Chaos armies sound like they have Amon Arath playing in the background as they march to war. The new ones feel like there's just jazz instrumental style guitars going constantly. Just lots of
weird, right? They've just gone bizarre with them, which is wonderful. That's what they should do with Chaos. Like, why would all the tribes that serve the Chaos powers look and function the same, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That doesn't make any sense. That really never made sense back in Fantasy Battle, really.
No.
I'll still miss the 5th edition ones that are up on screen. I still like them with the stupid flails.
I've got a huge soft spot for them, because they came out when I really started to get into the Fantasy Battle system for Chaos, and I've got a lot of them. I've got a hell of a lot of them. But they are old. They're really old. It's about time they went the way of the no.
Well, I think if you ever wanted to get rid of them, Big Swinging D over on the chat is after some for his Wolf Scouts. So,
oh wow!
I'm never going to call you anything other than Big Swinging D. I just want you to know that.
Can I throw in something that I don't like about the Chosen?
Yeah.
I don't like the fact that you can see their eyes through the helmet. Why do you think that is? Why do you think I wouldn't like being able to see their eyes through the helmet?
Because it reminds you of the old Prince Valiant cartoon.
Well, there's that as well. But I'm not good enough to paint their eyes in that little tiny crevice.
I know what you mean. It's a bitch, isn't it? It's a right royal bitch.
It looks like it's even worse than trying to paint the Thousand Suns rubric eyes, because it's not just like you put in a dot. You have to do the flesh tone in there and then put the eye and get that all right in a really small area.
This is going to be very difficult.
It's very cool, but
they're great miniatures, and
they're amazing. Yeah,
because like the Chosen have been suffering with old metal miniatures for a long time.
And probably resin as well, right?
Resin, yeah. I mean, like when they originally came out, though, those were in metal. That's how old they are. They've been around for such a long time, and they've never been good. They were crap when they first came out. I mean, these guys are supposed to be the chosen of chaos, right? They are the most blessed of the Chaos Warriors. The eyes of the gods are upon them. They never looked it. They never functioned like it. These guys look incredible. Incredible. I love them to bits, and I want them all.
If Jai's still watching, I just want Jai to have a look at the two the two chosen at the beginning of the carousel. Look directly into one of
the beginning of the carousel?
The axe and the standard bearer.
The standard bearer.
Oh, there we go. Okay, got it.
Right. Now, Jai, look straight into their eyes and say to me, "Blade with whom I have lived, blade with whom I now die." And I'm just going to leave that reference out there for anybody who might know what I'm talking about.
I get it, but, you know.
It's amazing I've never been picked up for my singing voice.
But, I mean, they're beautiful. These things are absolutely stunning. They've made them at long last like the chosen equivalents of the Chaos Warrior set that we've got knocking about now, which is lovely. You know, they needed upgrading, and they've done it. They look like they're quite big as well. These guys look quite beefy, you know, like they've been swollen with the powers of chaos, which
I think they're going to be on, from the looks of things, and I'm just guessing, I don't have any reference, I'm guessing they're going to be on the Stormcast scale basis, right?
That would be my guess, yes, because that's kind of the level these guys should be operating at.
Oh, yeah.
So
have they updated? Like, it's been a while since I've looked at starter sets for the Chaos Warriors. Have they updated the Slaves of Darkness set, or is it still the very, very old starter kit for Slaves to Darkness? Do you know?
Oh, I've no idea.
I think it's still the old starter kit.
It's still the old one.
I think.
No. Oh, no, they did update it.
It has been updated. Oh, good.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah, it's the one with the... Yeah, I was thinking of the one before that, which is the one that you were thinking of as well. No, this one has the 4 knights, the guy on the big lizard dog thing, and then the warriors, which look really good.
I think it's called, or something like that.
That thing's never actually had a release by itself, has it?
What, the Carcatrack? I don't know. Cripes. That's I mean, that's very naughty, because it's an absolute staple of Chaos Forces at the moment. It really is.
We probably shouldn't get into the what have GW not released that should be released.
Yeah, because it's a long list, isn't it? It's a long.
Again, the Nighthorn massively suffer from that. Again, it's something that they should, I don't know, look at.
Yeah,
maybe once.
But no,
Slaves of Darkness, they look great.
Yeah,
it makes me go, maybe I should buy some.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
This set, as long as it's reasonably priced, I'm picking that up. That it's a stunner.
Do you mean reasonable, George?
I would pay like 100 and maybe 40, 50 for that.
What do you think, Griff? Is that reasonable?
I think that's probably not far off the mark.
I'd be okay with that.
So Demon's going to be about 30, 35.
Yeah.
And then you've got the 3 guys there, 28 to 35. For them, and then it'll be a £40 box set. So 100 quid, 110 maybe. It depends, because that demon, I can imagine the demon print maybe hitting 40.
It's a very elaborate kit as well, that demon print, because it makes the Chaos Space Marines one as well, and all of the individual god specific demon princes. So it's a very big kit, that one.
If I was to go down this route, then I would take that demon prince, I would put the corn head on it, and then paint it in the same colours as the Ogroids, who, by the way, I'm now going to call the Ogoliaths from this point forward, because Ogroid's a stupid name. And then I would see who wants the Zeech head, the Nurgle head, and the Slaneshi head. Because I feel that I know someone who might want the Slanesh head, and I think I know someone who might want the Zeech head.
The Slanesh head, I think that should be the title of the episode.
I'm actually surprised he wouldn't use the corn head and just make him into like a Hashut demon or something like that.
Yeah, that's the very image of Hashut, isn't it, right?
I'm helping. I'm a good friend.
That is the very image of Hashut. It really is.
Shit. Hang on. Right, so you do that. Demon Prince of Hashut. You've got the Ogroids, which have a real bull feel to them. So, yeah. Followers of Hashut.
You've got your servants of Hashut, your cultists of Hashut, right?
And then all you do is you get a saw and chop off the legs of the Chosen. And there you go, they're Chaos Dwarves.
Little Chaos Dwarves running around, yeah.
Yeah. It's really tough ones with no legs.
I could have a beast army of Hashut.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm a good friend. Everybody likes having me as their friend because I help them part with their money.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah.
Because you got the Thermitage, so you just need to change that so it looks like he's turning into stone when he's using magic. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, if you want to do the whole turning to stone thing, you could just do the whole like texture paint thing as well, couldn't you? So it gets all cracky on their body. Yeah,
that'd be rocking. That'd look really good.
Yeah.
That works really well.
Yeah, if you use the Midwinter Minis video for how he painted his Necrons, you could just change the stone color from like a sandstone-y to a just hard stone color.
Yeah. Oh, goodness me.
Easy peasy.
That's a really, really good idea, having...
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Fuck.
Fabulous.
Honestly, that's such a good idea. I really want to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, bollocks. Okay, right.
Brilliance. Absolute brilliance. And now that Andy's mentioned it, I can't get over how much the corn head looks like Hashut.
Really you're absolutely bang on. Yeah. Absolutely bang on. That is such a great idea. Whilst I get upset, shall we move on to the next one?
Shall we?
Yeah.
Shall we have a look at the big boy?
So, what we have here is the War Master Ascendant, or, as I like to call him, the third Mitchell brother.
Oh my god! Oh my god, he does look like he's related to Grant and Phil Mitchell. Oh my god,
really
I hate it.
I actually find it fascinating how much in that CGI he looks like just a guy.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to me how much Horus just looks like a guy, and it kind of makes him a little bit more horrific. You know, you're used to Horus as he looks in those old art pictures where he is just
where he's like swollen and like there's cracks on his flesh from where the chaos is pouring through. Where he looks almost bestial, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He looks feral. And what you have here is still that there is a bestiality to him, but that's not the word I'm after. No,
it's contained, isn't it? It's like it's the Primarch is still in there somewhere, and the chaos is suffusing and surrounding him, right?
Yeah.
So this is Horus from a particular point in the heresy, isn't it? This is Horus from like right at the very end.
Yeah, this is after he's been in his little underworld jaunt and he's come out.
So it's after he's had his little nap. And his powwow with chaos powers, and he's now up and about. He's actually doing stuff, and he's really powerful at this point. Yeah.
And it shows how much better this is. I hate to say it, 100,000 times better than the stuff the Forge World did. It's so much better than that.
It's so much better, isn't it?
It's not like a minor upgrade. It's not just like a little one. It's a massive upgrade.
There's no competition, is there? You compare this to the original Horus miniature that came out for Horus Heresy, and it's just like, no.
I would be really annoyed if I had that one now, because this one just looks better. Yeah. And I'd be really annoyed because if I had any of that series, I'd be like, no, just redo them. They need to redo them like this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just come on.
Absolutely, because this is
just not fair.
Superior, isn't it? It is just
so much.
It is the War Master, right? I mean, this is probably the best depiction I've ever seen of the guy. It's beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. The base is amazing. The sculpt is, well, I mean, you throw up your hands, don't you? It's amazing. It's absolutely incredible. Yeah, what else is there to say?
I mean, it is worth saying that this is a resin miniature. This isn't a plastic kit. This is going to be a resin Forge World.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I thought this was a plastic boy. But I guess that makes sense.
No, this is resin again. But, I mean, the work that's been done, I think it's a weird one because Horus Heresy, at the start of Horus Heresy, things look odd to me. And I've never been able to put my finger on what it is. And I think it comes down to a lot of the miniatures have a sense of stasis to them. They don't look dynamic.
I know what you mean.
Then you look at this guy and you're like, fuck, someone really just upped the game.
Yeah.
Big time. But they were saying as well that there are other Primarchs that they can do ascended models about.
Of course. I mean, like, some of them, obviously, they can just use the 40k versions, like the Demon Primarchs.
Yeah, I think that's probably the idea, right?
Yeah, just use the 40k ones, because they're the same. There's not much difference.
But I can't think of any loyalist Primarchs that would be ascended. I mean, you're not going to get like a new Sanguinius or anything like that, are you? No. What they could do instead of having them as ascended, they could have them the opposite. They could have them ground down for the end of the heresy. Like by the end, a lot of them are badly wounded. A lot of them are really. I mean, Sanguinius is like fighting. He's the last one fighting at the gates, right? Mm-hmm.
By the end, so that would be fun. That would be interesting.
I look forward to Forge World releasing Dead Sanguinius.
That would be brilliant. That would be
you can see the trailer,
fantastic.
can't you? Horus ascended, Magnus ascended, Logar ascended, Sanguinius beheaded.
Dead.
Deaded. Yeah, ascended Lehman Russ would just be an empty base because he's off twatting around in the warp. Still costs 40 quid though.
Brilliant.
Yeah. No, I mean, this Horus is absolutely gorgeous.
Isn't it stunning? I mean, like you can't quite stop looking at it, can you?
No.
When you've got it up on your screen, it is mesmerizingly good.
I keep looking through the base just to see what else I can see in there.
Yeah, the bits and pieces. There's so much detail in there, actually. So much detail. Way more than you think when you first just glance at it.
Yeah, there's references all over the place. It's I'm trying to
one
work out
they
what the
could
guy's head is.
One they absolutely could do is Perturabo. They could do Perturabo over again because at this point in the heresy, Perturabo he's ensconced in this massive engine that's feeding him all of the data from the Siege of Terror. So they could actually do him in that machine. You know, that would be kind of cool.
Ooh, I would like to see that.
That'd be fun, right?
Wouldn't it be horrible if we got a resin Fulgrim ascended before we got the actual Primarch?
Yeah, that would be the worst. That would be the worst. Don't do that. Do not do that. Do not. But there are loads of characters that they're going to have to do from the book. Sigismund obviously is going to have to turn up at some point. Like just loads of little Space Marine characters that have been significant throughout the entire series. There's a lot of them. There's a heck of a lot of them.
There's never been a Malcador, has there?
Has there not?
I don't think so.
That's an oversight, surely, because Malcador is huge. Malcador's one of the main characters from the Heresy, right?
Is he? Yeah, but has he ever been in the fights? He's always a guy in the background, but maybe
that's true.
The reason they haven't done it because he's not a fighter.
That's true. I mean, but he is one of the most powerful psychers in the universe, barring Magnus and the Emperor. Like that's the tier. It's the Emperor, Magnus, Malcador. You know, so.
No.
I mean,
the new Lucius,
the obvious one is the Emperor, right?
Yeah. Maybe they're leaving that to last.
Yeah, I think that's probably going to be the case. And if they do the Emperor, maybe they'll do Malcador as a little aside miniature for him.
That'd be fun. I'd be down with that.
You know, his Makari, as it were. And he's a perpetual as well, isn't he, Malcador?
He is,
if I remember correctly. So interesting stuff.
And then
I mean, I'm still fascinated with what they're actually going to do with Malcador and the Emperor at the end of the books. Because there's been some very weird suggestions about what the actual relationship between those two is, and which one is the real Emperor of mankind.
Oh.
Who knows, right?
I've just had a message from the friend of the podcast, Mr. Adam White, and he's saying that he wants an Oath of Moment Garrow.
That'd be cool.
Yes.
I like
Yes.
Garrow.
Yes,
Yeah.
Fucking loot the yes.
all of those guys, the ones who have been exiled from their legions, right?
Mhm.
So Nathaniel Garrow, Garviel Loken, all of those characters who became the precursors for the Grey Knights.
The Knights Errant. Or whatever.
Yeah, they've got to be done.
If you want, like, I don't know whether it's an easy idea for a game, do a Space Hulk-like game, but with Garrow and his team. And giving them a scenario book, and you go through different scenarios, putting down Horus boys,
John
Xenos
Grammaticus.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, you go kill John Grammaticus or save him or something.
That's a great idea. No,
Yeah,
you know the
skirmish
one I
folk.
want? Latara Sarin.
Who's that one?
Latara Sarin is the captain of the Conqueror, Angron's flagship, and she is amazing. She keeps Angron and the World Eaters in check. They respect her so much, and she's an amazing character. I want a miniature of her. Who doesn't want Tara, right?
It'd be nice to have a Battlefleet Gothic again, though, like 30k Battlefleet Gothic.
Right.
That'd be interesting.
It would even make more sense in 30k
Yeah.
because the space battles obviously are just huge in 30k.
Yeah, and you could probably actually diversify the Imperial forces and the Chaos forces to actually make each of the ships look different, like they probably should be.
Yes. Oh, massively. Yeah. I mean, for one thing, there would be just much more different types of marks of ships.
Yeah.
And in the Chaos forces, there'll be even more because they're mutated, they're transformed, they've scavenged ships from aliens and from forbidden tech and whatnot by this point. So yeah, absolutely. You could even have character ships like Conqueror, like the Vengeful Spirit, and so on and so forth. It would be incredible.
Was the Phalanx around at that point?
Yes, the Phalanx was. Yeah. It was around at that point. There's enormous potential there.
Mr. White also says he wants to see an Eisenhorn Space Hulk, which, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And big swinging dig.
You almost got that with the thing that you had, Gruff, with the Plague Pox boys. What was that one called?
The Kill Team, which
Kill
was...
Team. That was almost that?
It almost actually, got there, didn't it?
Yeah. A really good version of Kill Team.
Just not themed. Yeah.
Really like that. And Big Swinging D says, give me miniatures of Ollie Pearson and Grammaticus.
John Grammaticus, of course. Yeah.
Only they have to be both dressed in, like, 21st century clothes.
Yeah. Just this little human guy.
Yeah, looking weirdly like Shaun of the Dead characters.
Yeah, they've got to be, like, so aggressively normal, right?
Can John Grammaticus have, like, jeans, but you remember back when we were kids how they were really big and baggy around the feet? So you can't even see his shoes.
John Grammaticus looks like he's fronting a new metal band. I'm all in.
Yeah.
I mean, in all seriousness, there are some of the human perpetuals and whatnot they could introduce because they've got very particular powers and capabilities. I mean, Euphrates Keeler, definitely, the saint who begins the ecclesiarchy.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
The only perpetuals,
right?
The only perpetual that's got a miniature is Vulcan, isn't it?
That's right. I think. Yeah. That's right.
Weird.
And that's because he just happens to be also a Primarch.
Shall we move on to the next story, which is weirdly just a blank page?
Not.
Yes.
Because, I mean
I don't understand this at all. It's got the 40k symbol at the front, and it's just a blank page all the way down.
No cornate vibes or symbols for you.
No, I'm saying it's just all blank,
Yeah.
And at the very bottom it just says it's not in the rules. It's just the proper way to venerate the god of slaughter. It's weird.
Yeah, it's basically Adam's denialism is actually infecting the podcast at this point here.
Yeah, I mean, there's a video here.
Still
And it's
nothing.
literally
the
just a black
screen.
screen.
Don't look at the screen. Yeah.
Still nothing.
Nothing.
I'm saying nothing. It says here about the old Chaos Berserkers looking great, and they're just the right size. And that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Not a single thing on this page. It's really weird.
Some orcs. I see orcs.
And there's a roadmap at the bottom here, and it just says Chaos Demons, Leagues of Voltan, Astra Militarum, and some World Eaters. And, it's a really strange page. I'm going to have to drop this now, aren't I? Or else we can't actually talk about it.
Because we've got to talk about them. I mean, it's going to be painful. It's going to be painful, Adam, but we do have to talk about them.
So, new Chaos Berserkers. It actually happened.
They actually do exist. Despite Adam being desperate to deny the fact that they exist, they do. And, I mean, Adam, they're great, right?
They are fucking fantastic.
I mean, come on. They're kind of everything everybody's been asking for from the Khorne Berserkers. They're really wonderful.
I will, however, throw one thing in here, which it could be the fact that they just haven't built any of them up to look like this. Or it could be a thing that's in the box. But no chain axe and power fist combo.
No, I mean, Khorne Berserkers haven't had power fists for yonks.
Mm-hmm.
Years and years and years. They have, they almost universally have chain axes or chain swords.
Yeah, I know. But there's that one Mark Gibbons piece of artwork, and it's just a shame that you can't recreate that.
You can't recreate it,
the Terminator, yeah. To go along with this Terminator.
The Terminators can definitely have power fists and chain fists and whatnot, but the normal Khorne Berserkers, no. Not for a long time. Not for a long, long time. Since Second Ed.
Yeah. Christ, really, is it that long?
Yeah, it's that long. I mean, back in Second Ed, because, like, everything was much more... I mean, Second Ed's really weird. Everything was much more open back then. So, like, almost everything could take everything. You know, basically the Khorne Berserkers back then, it just said select what you like from the melee weapons, so they could have literally anything, literally any combination you liked.
I guess that makes sense, because why wouldn't they just pick up any kind of melee weapon that's on the field or whatever?
I suppose it does. I mean, like the fluff justification is that the chain axe and the chain sword are considered to be especially blessed by Khorne. There's something quite special about those weapons, particularly the axe. The axe is very cornate indeed.
Oh yeah. There's something weird here that I think is worth pointing out. If you look at the picture of the two berserkers with chainsaws and bolters.
With the axes, not the two with the. It's like what?
Hang on, let me try and work this one out. How I'm going to explain this.
Which ones are we looking at?
The ones in red.
Yeah.
The red ones with the horns.
So one's looking forward and the other's looking off to the right. And what I'm going to point out here is, when's the last time you saw a chainsword get redesigned?
It's a long time, right?
You mean the double-handed chainsword?
No. Because that's something we've seen before. But there's a chainsword, and it's a chainsword with a actual blade on the top, and the silhouette of it looks completely different. I
know the one. Yes, this is the one. It's
thank God.
Interesting, isn't it? I mean, it is fascinating that they tried to make all of the chain axes, the chain swords look individual, right?
Is that meant to be a chainsaw, though? Or is that just a big knife with a little jaggedy bit?
It is
a chainsaw. You can see the teeth of the chainsword,
okay.
Yeah.
There is a...
Well, I could see the teeth. I just didn't know if it was chainsaw or if it was just, like, jaggedy.
There is a similarly designed chainsword in the new Chaos Space Marine set.
Oh, okay. All right.
It is very much that. It is the Chaos chainsword design. at the moment. But if you look, every single one of them is different, and all of the chain axes are different too.
I like the fact that they have patch meal armor. So you got Mark III armor shoulder pads. You got the Terminator Cataphracti armor shoulder pads as well.
Some of them have got like
Mark IV.
Yeah, some of them have got like bared arms and whatnot, like Khan does. It's really cool because, of course, I mean, one of the bits of background about the Khorne Berserkers is they just don't care about their equipment as such. No. They will sanctify it, they'll bless it with blood and bone meal and whatnot, but they won't try to repair it or anything like that. They only want it to be functional, and that's it. They don't care about how it looks or whether like the pieces match or whatever.
There is
they're great.
There's a real sense to these guys that takes me back to 1993 or so.
Oh my god!
And I think it's the way they've painted them, because it's not that. Khorne kind of got like a dulled down red for a while there, didn't it? They're the World Eaters.
It got like a really dark red, didn't it? Like do you remember the paint scheme when the last set came out and it was really deep, dark red?
Yeah.
Almost like dried gore. It was like dried blood rather than fresh blood, right?
They seem to have gone back to that orange highlights over the red, over a really bright red. It
is very old school, isn't it? It's very sort of, it is 1990s Khorne Berserkers, right?
Yeah, it is. And it really sings to me. I love that
Yeah,
scene.
it's cool. And apparently, like, the kit allows you to build them all with bared heads, so you can see the butcher's nails, which is a lovely detail. That's a lovely detail. I love the champion's helmet, the elaborate one with the Khorne symbol. That's very lovely, I've got to say. I'm not surprised because I think we've discussed this before, but you can see the influence of the Khorne Bloodbound from AOS in these minis.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
But I would not be surprised to see Khorne players like cross-pollinating the kits a lot, and I mean a lot.
I'd be interested to see what the layout of the kits are like.
Yeah, that would be interesting. They look dynamic, don't they? They look like you're going to be able to chop and change and swap things about quite easily.
I would imagine they'll be as complex as like a standard Space Marine kind of kit.
Yeah.
So whatever the complexity of like how many bits they're into is probably going to be like that.
Quite modular.
But you should be fairly, like you say, easy to at least snip them. Because Space Marines have nice big shoulders and nice big thighs to cut through if you wanted to bit and bob them.
And these guys actually look like they're running rather than tripping over, which is nice.
I don't know. Do you not think some of them just look like they're doing like the step-up machines in like the gym?
I don't know whether it's like the positioning of the photographs, but some of them do a little bit, yes.
Or each of like the individual ones that have the leg up have stood on a piece of Lego at the time. It's not like pain, it's just
If they were Slaaneshi Marines, they'd be stamping down on it more, wouldn't they?
Just rolling around on Lego.
Bricks for the brick god.
I like the fact as well, from the kit, you can sort of discern what differences they're going to have as a unit. Like, there's a lot of very specialist close combat weapons here, like the big chainsaw, the big double-handed chainsword is obviously going to be a specialist thing. The big double-handed chain axe is obviously going to be a specialist thing.
I would imagine you're going to get only like one of those per kit, right? So there's going to be one with the big double chainsaw.
That's
so if you want to have multiple ones of them, you're going to have to buy quite a few of them. It's not going to have the versatility of the older kits, which I remember was an issue some people had with the orcs, or some of the orcs, because they wanted more than just two shooter boys in a pack. Obviously, this isn't as bad because it's like just berserkers. You get berserkers, so it's kind of what you expect.
That's it. A berserker's a berserker, isn't it? You know, they're kind of standard in their layout, so it's not too much of an issue.
Sorry,
but no, I mean, it's very.
Carousel.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, again, not a Khorne player at all. But am I excited for this codex? Yeah. It's a god-specific codex. It's gonna be really cool. You know it is. The background, at least, is gonna be really cool because they always are. They've been two they've released thus far have been spectacular. I mean, the Thousand Suns and the Death Guard. I can't wait to see how they expand the background for the World Eaters. You know, because the Thousand Sons of the Death God, because they've been so prominent over the last 5 years now, they've had so much background thrown at them. They're so dynamic in the universe now. I mean, Magnus has literally changed the shape of the 40k universe, right? He's wrenched Sorciarius out of the warp and into the material universe, yeah? And the World Eaters have been a bit recessed. You know, they've been around, but not really doing very much, you know? So seeing what they're doing now and how they're organizing, for want of a better, what Angron is doing in the universe now, that's going to be really cool.
Especially as you've now
got. Are we assuming, looking at the roadmap, that the Astral Militarum are going to come out first?
It looks that way, doesn't it? The roadmap seems to suggest that. Yeah, Astral Militarium first, and then the world. I imagine the World Eaters are going to be the big Christmas release. That would be.
That would make sense. Does that mean? Do you think that the Astral Militarum they're not going to have the big refresh that they probably need and deserve?
What's weird is we keep hearing rumours that they're getting a refresh.
Yes, rumours are
that's the thing. But we've seen nothing for it, and they don't have that long to build a hype for it.
No, it's true. It's true. Maybe they're just keeping it under wraps, or maybe it's going to be a big. But the rumors seem to suggest that it's going to be a big refresh. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're wrong. Maybe the rumors are just dead wrong. You know. But there are rules out there already, aren't there? There are like rule sets out for the Astral Militarium out there. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It's again, they're one of the more interesting ones because they need. I mean, we've got so many armies in Ninth Ed now that play in ways that are very like the Astra Militarium. So the Tau, the Eldari, the firepower armies, effectively. So how they distinguish the Astra Militaria from them?
Didn't we talk about the idea that they'd play almost like the Eldari and Tau, but with Necron elements as well, so you summon in units?
I think that's probably going to be it. So the human elements are going to be dead squishy, obviously, because they're human beings in coats and they're going to be dead squishy. But I imagine they're almost going to be almost infinitely respawning, right? Because that's what they're like. That's what the Astra Militarium is, right? It's a meat grinder. They just chuck bodies at the enemy and hope that it works, right? So maybe that's it. Maybe that's how it's going to work. I hope so, because that's how they're supposed to work.
It's going to be interesting to see. I'm hoping it's not just like a one kit refresh. I'm hoping
that would be sad.
At least a few. Like minimum, I'd like it to be we could probably do without the vehicle refresh. I think they do deserve a refresh for all of their vehicles.
Yeah,
but I guess you could do without them being done and focus on the humans, because the vehicles look old, but they look fine.
Yeah,
they just look like a tank.
They look like a tank, right?
It looks like a tank,
right,
But it's the humans, which will look
human kits really need updates, and we've seen suggestions of it already. I mean, what is it? Was it Kill Team that we had an Astro Militarium kit for recently?
We've had a few bits of Astro Militarium kind of bits for Kill Team here and there for a while now. I think,
and that's normally the test bed, isn't it? That's where you see of what the miniatures are going to look like. And
should we jump into the Astro Militarium and Kroot in Kill Team then?
Yeah, why not?
Wasn't that a nice leadway?
Yeah.
Segue. I know.
Nice segue.
Yeah. So I mean, because you've got the Breachers here, who are very much Imperial looking, but like nothing we've ever seen before. It harkens back to.
They look great. Love them.
Oh yeah,
they are.
absolutely.
They're lovely things.
And we know that the stuff from that Kill Team box is getting released by itself, so. It's not that hard to actually make a very good-looking Astra Militarium force without really having to do too much.
No, I mean, and one of the elements I think they might be doing, because we've had a lot of like the Imperial Navy stuff, haven't we, coming into Kill Team? I think they might be, that you might see elements of that in the new Astra Militaria book. That would be kind of cool.
So just see the big swinging D said, I'm going to have to do a platoon of Navy troopers. Let's be honest. Absolutely, because they are just gorgeous.
Yeah, they're very, very cool, aren't they?
I love the magnetic boots. I love them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, squishy humans, they're really not my army at all. but God, are they good? Yeah, they're lovely. They're really, really lovely miniatures. So, and it's been a long time since the Astra Militaria have had anything to speak of. I mean,
oh God, yeah.
It's been literally, we're knocking a decade before anything.
The only things I can think of are just random characters, and then like what was it, two years ago something, we had that really basic upgrade kit for the troopers, which had the female heads in, and that was about it.
That's right. That was ages ago, wasn't it? So like, even that wasn't that significant, was it? It was just
it literally only gave them like a female head and a few other new heads, and that was, I think, maybe some weapon options, but again, it didn't help the figures for the most part. The models itself.
I mean, the Astra Militaria really has needed a wholesale rejigging for a long time, because it's never really represented what the actual army is like in the background. Like, for one thing, the Militaria it's like all sexes for one thing, because the Imperium doesn't give a shit. A human being is a human being and is a body to be chucked at the enemy, right? So there should at least be an equal mix of men and women in it. There's also like the differing backgrounds that these people come from, the different worlds that they're derived from, and the different cultures and whatnot that they bring, the different regiments that are out there.
I don't mind that as much, just because I think it might fall into the issue of the cities of Sigmar. Like, it'd be nice to have like a few different elements in here and there, just to not homogenize the entire army. But I think it's going to be very difficult to have it too crazy. Like, you can go for like specialist ones, like the Death Corps of Creed.
Yeah, like second
ed. But you can only go so far before like it gets too expansive. Like, how expansive do you make the cultures for the Imperial Guard? It can go too far.
I mean, it can.
So I guess I guess it's a military organization. So at a point, you need to have some kind of founding but just founding design to kind of pull them all together. But then your special characters, you could do whatever with, or like your specialized units, like your jungle, not Arnold Schwarzenegger guys. Those guys,
yes,
they could be
not
cool and
Predator
different.
guys.
Not Predator guys, no.
But very much Predator guys.
Well, we did get Carl Not Weathers, so
yes, we did. Yeah. Oh God.
All right. Here's how I would sort this out. What you do is you duel the kits. So, Death Corps of Krieg, what do we know about them? They've got big leather trench coat type things. So then you release a Praetorian headset. You put the Praetorian heads on. You've got all you have to do is paint them in the right colours. You've got yourself Praetorians. Yeah, two very different looking armies, but using the same base idea. And I think
that's it, isn't it? That's the way you do it. You just introduce little elements to the kits that allow you to customize them, and then you can do what you like with them.
Are you going through the Horus Heresy kind of torso and shoulder pads idea?
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I think that would work really rather well.
Yeah, that could be okay, yeah.
I think that's the only way you can really do it. You know, you have like maybe 3 main kits, but then you create upgrades where you can turn them into one of, I don't know, 4 other units, or 4 other worlds. And I think it's difficult because you're absolutely right, Andy. You've got
it's
thousands
the variety,
and thousands and thousands of different styles and looks and worlds that you can draw from. And they don't all look the same. That's why they went Cadian for the Imperial Guard for so long, because it is a unified look.
Yeah.
I think if you do what they do, like you said, Gruff, you do what you do with the Space Marines for Horus Heresy, it's a good way to tweak the nipples of like the customer and milk them. So you have your basic kit and then you upgrade them, but it costs more money if you want to upgrade them.
Yeah.
I think it's a good business call as well. I guess it just boils down to because Space Marines are bigger, there's a bigger model to work with. Can you do that with a much more slender model of a human? That'd be interesting to see. I'd be into for that, but you know,
as I say, I think a couple of weapons and mostly heads, and I think you'd be fine.
I think you'd be okay. Yeah, because I mean, most of them are sort of swathed either in armor or in coats or uniforms, aren't they? So it's quite easy to make those torsos and leg pieces adaptable, right?
You'd think so, yeah. If the more adaptable you make it, you lose out on dynamic nature that they've been aiming for over the years. I don't
It's
know.
tricky. It's a balance, isn't it? It's a balance.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's the trick. It's the balance.
Are
of
these
it.
the business decisions they talk about in the studio? Are we having a Games
Are
Workshop
we
discussion?
having that conversation? Yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? It is the Astra Militaria, bizarrely, are one of the hardest armies to realize, aren't they?
Because they're probably the biggest
Yeah.
in terms of like galactic scale.
And also, they're the one that derives from history, right? They are the most historical of the armies out there. They're often the gateway for like old historical wargamers into 40k. Yeah,
That's a good point. I suppose you can't go too far from that because you need to keep that doorway open for that kind of gamer.
It's very, very tricky.
Yeah.
to realize.
There's a balance act there that is almost impossible to keep.
Yeah. Either going to have to go hard one way or keep it the way it is, I guess. Yeah. Good luck, GW. I'm glad I'm not a businessman.
It's a difficult one. It is really, really hard. And they've tried many times. They've tried many times to reinvent the Astra Militaria in different ways. And sometimes it's worked and sometimes it hasn't. I mean, they had their heyday in 4th Ed when they had that amazing codex that was just blowing everyone off the battlefield. And then they took a nosedive hard. They took a nosedive, like, really hard. And they've never recovered from it. Like, not ever.
I have an idea how you fix the Imperial Guard, right? Send them all into the Soul Forge. Boom. Clap them in living metal. We're doing it. No problems.
So you get Imperial Necrons. I like
They're
that.
just Necrons.
No,
I've always wondered why the Necrons have never taken human slaves and turned them into Necrons for experimentation to see if you can turn them back.
It's so funny.
That's right.
It's so funny you should mention that. They used to.
Was it the Praetorians
They were called the Pariahs. They were called the
Pariahs. That's
and
right.
It's from their background. You know the whole notion of the pariah gene, the gene that that the Kulexus has, the Kulexus assassin.
Yeah,
that's what it was derived from. The whole background for the pariahs was that they were human beings with the pariah gene that had gone through the Necron process.
The only reason I know about that is because it was in Dawn of War.
Yeah, I mean, but they're gone.
Crusade.
They're gone. They're like,
they're
not even in the background now. They're like gone.
It's something that I think the Necrons should dip into because they want to go back to being humans. So take humans, make them Necrons, and then experiment on them.
Yeah,
if it doesn't work, who cares?
It hasn't been done. I mean, like, as you say, I'm surprised. Rather, it has been done, but it hasn't been kept as part of their background.
Especially by some of the Necrons who just don't care.
Yeah,
there are a lot of scientists who just don't care.
You'd think that Trazyn wouldn't be that bothered. You'd think that.
I don't think Trazyn would do it. Trazyn would just put them in a bottle.
I
don't need to play around with them. I just want to make them look cool in my
Xerath absolutely would.
Xerath definitely would do that.
Definitely would, because he's the favourite of the bunch, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
I've just thought how to make Imperial Guard look really good. You just do nothing.
Is it by cut their legs off and then add giant mustaches and
I was
big
going to
hats?
say, has this got anything to do with them wearing really big hats, having really short legs, and very big beards?
No,
okay.
It was.
I don't believe you, but okay.
It was literally just throw in a load of Necromunda units.
Yeah.
So you run an entire army that is based around, I don't know, House Goliath. You paint them in like jungle colours. Jungle fighting colours, I should say. And then you have yourself a very, very interesting looking Imperial Guard army.
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea for a codex. I don't think that's a good idea for the Imperial Guard because they'd look too ragtag. That would be like a codex Hive City Emergence or something like that.
No,
or Hive City Rebellion.
Use just the one house to make the entire army.
Oh! I thought you meant just use all of the different kinds of houses.
No.
As one army.
That'd be way too chaotic.
Oh,
yeah.
So you have like just a ton of House Goliath guys, or a ton of
okay.
Or what's it, Kodor? Just a load of House Kodor, because that would look really good.
The more kind of normalish looking ones that look like they could be part of an army rather than
Escher
some of the weirder ones.
Probably wouldn't work. Delac, maybe.
If you ran Escher as like the jungle force, I can't remember what they're called. If you ran them as the jungle force, I'd buy that. They look like they could be like jungle ladies, sure.
Yeah,
okay. With that.
Okay, Kodor, you could just that did look just fine.
The vampire-looking dudes, I don't know. I don't know what they could do.
Delac, well, they're just
they just have sex with dead bodies. Oh, that too.
Yeah. Or one of the other
ones. Which is the ones that have like the hyper technology on Necromunda? Is that Orlok?
Orlok, yeah.
Yeah,
the ones that look really good for like modding into like Necrons and stuff. Yeah, they'd be good.
They're too alien, aren't they? I don't think
That's
they fit
probably the problem.
into the Imperial Guard.
They'd get on the battlefield and be shot by a commissar.
I was going to say the commissar would be what?
Yeah.
That in this army.
Oh, mate, come
Sharpo
on now.
in the
Get
chat says use Necromunda miniatures to do penal colony, like a penal throughput legion.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, perfect. Absolutely
Brilliant.
goddamn perfect. That would look so good.
Brilliant. Because it fits into like the dystopian element of the Imperium too. You know, that really works very, very well.
Penal.
Yeah,
right.
and also it makes them interesting, doesn't it? It lends that just extra layer of intrigue.
Shall we move on to the last story, and then we've got one thing to do, and then we shall close up for the night?
Yeah, sure.
This is only a short story. So, Cursed City is back in October. It is going to be back properly, for good, stay on the shelves. Thank God.
Fantastic.
Because
it's
weird bit of news, though. We're getting an upgrade for it, a expansion with no miniatures.
What's this about?
Well, obviously, when they didn't know if they were going to get Cursed City back out, they had some miniatures that were going to be released. Because if you remember, the Rat Prince was actually released on the Cursed City website page way back when. And obviously that didn't happen, that didn't come out. So they released Radikar and the other vampires by themselves in the vampire book. And now they've found a way of getting this out. They're getting this out, so you have to buy the miniatures separately.
Yeah. It's going to be a little... Like, how much are we assuming this is... Because I think the kindest, which I don't think is going to happen, the kindest they could release it at is like 20 quid. And I don't think it's coming... This box set's coming out at 20 quid. No.
20? I don't think...
Because Let's go through. The Vampire Lord, which is this one here, is 19... I'll just go for GW prices, right? £19. Rat Prince is £21. Rat Prince. And Lady with the little mask here is £21 as well. So that's, 40... 42...
60 quid.
50, 60 quid plus, 30 quid? Probably? Minimum?
Yeah, so...
20, 30?
Yeah. So there's nothing... The box itself has nothing but counters and cards and new floor places and stuff in it. And a book, obviously. Right, okay.
Yeah,
sure,
Fair
yeah.
It's got the rules in and stuff. So the box I can imagine being 20 quid. Fine, yeah, okay. What annoys me is that it should be a £60 box with miniatures in it. Not a £20 box with no miniatures in that you now have to buy the miniatures separately. There's something about that which is really not working for... It's weird.
What if you had two versions? So you had the £60 version, which has the miniatures in, and then you have the £20 version
for the people
that already have the minis.
Them. Yeah, that makes sense.
Granted, the people who would already have those minis, they'd be pissed, rightly so. But it's not then like £100 for a very small upgrade set for the people that want it.
Okay, so what you need is a set of Fellbats and Radikar the Beast.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Oh, who's a big expensive mini.
Oh, that's a big one, yeah.
And that's just a start. You then need the other three to continue.
Yeah.
Now, you could probably get it... I mean, obviously, they're miniatures and you can play games however you like, so there's absolutely nothing stopping you from using the miniatures you've already got or converting your own. Absolutely not. That's never going to be an issue because these are physical miniatures and converting has always been part of the hobby as far as I'm concerned. Fine, absolutely fine. Yeah. But it just feels a little bit off. And I think I understand it because Cursed City has been fucking cursed from day one.
It has from inception, right?
Absolutely it has. I'm not going to argue that point. It has been an absolute mess.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because it feels like it could have been a roaring success, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, it seems to have been a success despite itself.
Yeah, people want it, don't they? People are clamoring for it.
I still do.
Are we scared that if this doesn't do well, they might just go no more updates? Or do you think they'll do at least one more, legitimate update that we would have had, because this doesn't feel like this feels like a piecemeal that, like you said, if those miniatures had been burned here, this would have been a decent upgrade, so it would have been kind of cool. Do you think we'll get like a proper upgrade set or expansion in the future? And if that doesn't do well, that'll be it? Or do you think if this does poorly, done? No more?
I think there's probably another one in the fire, right?
Sure. I would hope so, yeah.
I would say, because the problem here is that, obviously, this stuff all got released out of whack. The game was meant to be out, and it fell apart because of all sorts of things working against it. It just did. Let's be honest here. It was no fault of anyone. It just came out at exactly the wrong point and got absolutely bollocked by everything in the world. As a result, they got the miniatures that were already out. Because obviously at that time, they probably thought they weren't going to get it out. People were crying for it so much that they managed to find a way to get it out again. Brilliant. I'm really glad. They did it through made to order, and now they've got it out on the shelves in October. Excellent. Well done. That can't have been easy to do. Let's, give credit where credit's due here.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly getting this thing back out and republished, that can't have been easy.
No, especially given what was going on at the time, the pressures that they've been acting against from outside.
Yeah, because, what we're seeing now, this stuff coming out in October, the work that needed to be done to make this come out in October, that would have started well over a year ago. That's how long these things take. It's not you can send some messages off to somebody in a factory and say, can we print out another 5,000 of these? Because the factory is going to have a list of jobs it needs to get done and a date to get them done by. It's then got to slot that in at the end, because that's the way the factories work. So this has been well over a year ago. So 18 months ago, they obviously thought, we're not going to be able to get this out, and that's why they released this stuff out with the Soulblight. Maybe it was meant to be released as well, I don't know. But it means that what we have here is this weird half-release that feels very, very strange, and it doesn't feel complete, because there's nothing in it. There's no miniatures in it.
Yeah.
I still think it looks good, but if it's more than 20 quid, it's going to fail big time.
Because people just aren't going to buy it, are they? They're just not going to bother.
And I don't feel confident in saying that it will be 20 quid. No. Knowing GW and how pricing tends to go for these, it feels like it's going to be 30 to 40.
Yeah, which I can't.
I don't want it to be. No, 20 is the max it should be. But
and also contextually, given everything, given everything that's actually happening in the world at the moment as well, people are they're just not gonna want to spend that much on this, are they?
On cards, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very old school in that regard, isn't it? This is the kind of release that you used to get way back in the day. Do you remember, for the board games and the expansion games? You used to get a lot of sets that were just cards and counters and whatnot.
The old Dungeons and Dragons stuff, yeah, very much so. And a lot of the everything up to about the mid-90s, I'd say, you did get expansions that were just cards. But then, of course, you get Hero Quest that just absolutely throws that out the water, and all the other stuff that came out with it, Battle Masters and Space Crusade. And you ended up having to have a more expensive expansion. But even then, the expansions for Space Crusade were 20 quid each, which back in 1994 was a bit more expensive than it is now. But it is... It's weird in modern day to have a completely card-based release.
It is a very strange thing, isn't it? For present-day Games Workshop, it's an odd thing. Because the miniatures are what drive the sales, aren't they? Always,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, it's a strange one.
And it's hard to get an expansion set and have a board game where you do have the miniatures and buy this upgrade set. And if you don't have the miniatures, be like, oh, well, I'll just use the card counters for them. I was going to do that.
Yeah, who really is?
No one's going to be happy. It's like, oh, I've got my Rat Prince here and he's a bit of card compared to anything else. Even a zombie. A zombie's a real physical entity rather than a counter. It's very different. I don't know.
It is. It's odd. It's really odd. But anyhow, right. So we're going to finish off now on a couple of things. Number one, On the 24th of September, we're having a Fluff and Meet. If you're on the Facebook group or in the Discord, come along, join us. There will be Zoom links put out on the day. We're going to do a couple of things. I think me and Andy are going to be taking each other on Talisman. I think that was a plan that we discussed at one point. Some knockdown Talisman goodness.
No frogs, no turning me into a goddamn fucking frog.
I make no promises. I think it should be a three-way battle between the three of us. I think the three of us should play Talisman on Steam and just wreck the shit out of each other.
I can't believe how many DLC things that game has at this point.
If
it has so many bits of DLC download, DLC stuff, it's nuts.
If I had like a lottery win, I would buy all of those bits and would play a game with all expansions. So yeah, that's a thing that's happening. We should enjoy that. I'm going to also run a pub quiz, and it's just going to be a lot of fun. So about 1 o'clock till maybe 11 o'clock at night, we're just going to all meet up on Zoom and just chat. If people want to go and have a RPG game, I think there's a couple of people who want to run some one-shot RPGs. If people want to come along and set up a tabletop simulator game and get some people involved in that, more than welcome to. The entire idea is just for the community around the Fluffenhammer, just to get together and have a bit of a good time online.
It's a nice idea. It's a really nice idea.
Well, I keep wanting to try and do stuff in the flesh, but then the world keeps doing stuff to stop me.
I mean, that is the ideal, isn't it? Going to Nottingham, right, to Warhammer World and meeting up and maybe having some games. Whoa, that'd be grand, you know?
It would be absolutely brilliant, but with stuff like
Andy's 1,000 Sons, my 1,000 Sons.
Who will
It's going to happen, Andy. We're gonna have a game.
Both of your 1,000 Sons versus all of my dwarfs.
That would be grand, yeah. That'd be fabulous.
I mean, I'd have to play you digitally, but, you know, I'd be there in spirit.
What else am I going to say? Patreon. So the Patreon, you can find us at patreon.com/Fluffenhammer. We have got the Fluffen Nation coming out each month where I grab somebody, make them talk to me, and usually they leave a worse person than they were when they first started.
Oh my god.
This month is split into two parts. The first part is already out, and the second part will be a Q&A session. And we're going to just be answering questions. Or I'm going to be answering questions. Hopefully there'll be somebody with me. We'll see.
Fabulous. And
then, what after that? The next Fluff Nation will be coming out will be Ash from the Under Consultation podcast, because he's a fascinating man and I wish to shake him violently. What else do I need to tell you all? Next year, after Christmas, we're going to be starting up a little competition, a little get-together, if you so wish, and it's going to be to make a fourth stroke fifth ed Warhammer Fantasy Battle Army using anything you can get your hands on.
Oh, wow.
That's going to be a lot of fun to do. I'm going Chaos Dwarfs, because I'm a fucking glutton for punishment.
Of course.
That's not true. You hate the Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah.
I'm a monster.
What?
I just like to make myself pained, which is really interesting.
You just want to do more clan rats, really.
Which is really
I'm almost
interesting.
tempted to go for like one of the armies I really hate from that era, a fantasy battle like the Wood Elves or something.
Yeah, I was going to say,
but do them with the present day miniatures, the Sylvaneth. That'd be kind of fun. That'd be fun.
That would be a really interesting
proxy
challenge for yourself. Bit. Yeah. Ooh, maybe
get myself some old undead. The old silly skeleton
really
boys.
old ones like the metal whites and whatnot. That brilliant miniature of Arkan on the chariot.
Oh yeah, he
was fun. Jeez.
Who was the vampire dude on the Griffin, the Chimera Griffin-y thingy-mabob?
Yeah, Dieter Hellschnicht. Yeah. My god, yeah. Fabulous.
Give myself a shitty Herman Ghost who's always crap and who's never been good, and he's never had good lore. No one likes him because he's shit. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that Herman Ghost is cool. No one does. No one can.
It's like you were trying to get Von Horseman and Titus Groan mixed up in the same name there. Herman Groan. Right, and so we're going to finish off now with something I like to call the 90-second dungeon. George and Andy, do you have your characters?
Yeah, sort of. My gnome lich.
Mm-hmm. So, you have 4 numbers.
Yes.
Right. First one will be strength.
Okay.
Second one will be intelligence.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, this is bad.
Third one will be toughness.
That's not too bad.
And fourth one will be... I have lost my piece of paper that tells me. Movement.
Okay.
Okay. Have you got a name for your characters? Doesn't matter if you don't.
I'm just saying that's... I did okay for my rolls.
Okay. So, it doesn't matter if you've got names or not, because we are now about to enter the 90-second dungeon. You fall into a dungeon. You meet each other for the first time, stare into each other's eyes, wondering what the other person is doing there, when suddenly a feral warhog runs up towards you through the passageways of the tunnel you have fallen into. It's grunting. It's angry. What do you do? Go.
I'm a lich. I blast it with magic.
Okay,
it doesn't
you need
even get close to me. It falls apart. It crumbles to dust.
You need to roll your intelligence.
On...
You've got to roll above your intelligence.
On what
On
die?
what kind of dice?
Oh, sorry, on a D20.
Above my intelligence? Oh, it's freaking easy.
That's because we were rolling on D6s for our...
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
On a D6, sorry.
I was going to say, my
yeah.
intelligence is 3 and I got a 16. It's like, what?
Sorry, no, I meant on a D6.
Oh, I just got it. Just.
Okay, it crumbles to pieces in front of your very eyes. Then suddenly the ground starts to shake. Andy, what do you do? The ground is shaking. Snakes are starting to rise from the cracks.
I throw George at it.
I'm fine.
Roll strength.
I'm undead.
All right.
Like,
I roll a 3.
The gnome
My
lich...
strength was 4.
Oh, you see, you failed. You've grabbed hold of him, realised that there is very little to grab hold of because he's actually wearing stilts, and everyone falls over. We'll see you next time for the 90-second dungeon. And with that, Andy, tell me where people can find you.
People can find me on this channel, on Twitch, the Decayed Andy channel. We're on YouTube as well, streaming there as well as Decayed Andy. I'm on Twitter, shockingly, as Decayed Andy. We usually stream video games. We're doing Tokyo Ghostwire at the moment, or Ghostwire Tokyo. We've got another game that I need to pick out for the stream, but I don't know what it'll be. It'll be something fun, I'm sure. And apart from that, I'm on the Moonbase 2 podcast, which we're recording tomorrow. Live on both of these 2 channels, where me and Jason will be talking about Transformers. We're also on Libsyn, iTunes, Facebook, all those good places as Moonbase 2 Transformers podcast.
Fabulous.
Excellent.
Fabulous.
Now
Can I personally recommend Andy's playthroughs of the FromSoft games? Because they're very, 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 very good indeed.
You're nearly done with yours, aren't you?
Say again?
You're nearly done with your playthrough of
I'm getting
Elden Ring.
there. Yeah.
Really?
Some God knows how many hundreds of hours later, yes, I am getting there. I'm nearly done.
I can't remember. Did you get to the roots, the big tree roots?
I'm still in crumbling Farusa bulk at the moment.
Okay,
I
because
know
that's one of the weird, slightly hidden kind of areas which you might need to look for.
Oh, okay.
But there's lots of ants down there, a lot of tree roots, so you'll know if you've been in there.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think I've been there.
You might need to take a few coffins to get there, because it's like one of those things where you jump in a coffin and it takes you to a place.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's another boss down there, that's why I mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's got to be done then. It's got to be done.
Yeah. You need to be careful, because there is an ending which you could turn on by accident.
Oh.
You beat the boss and you could talk to a character and it might end the game, so you need to not talk to it.
Oh, hang
Fight
on.
The boss and then
hang
leave
on. I think I have been down there. It's the one where you fight the big dragon, right?
That's yeah.
Yeah, I've done that. That.
Okay, that's fine. I wasn't sure if you'd done that one.
No, I've done that. That was one of my favourite quests, actually. It was bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
I was a bit shocked. I was a bit shocked. I was like, oh, no, there's a dragon, and I wasn't prepared. Shit.
Can anyone really be
Quite.
prepared for a dragon?
Not in
Elden Ring. They come out of everywhere.
They
Jesus.
do.
Some of them
They
just fly in the
sort of,
sky.
like, materialize out of nowhere.
George, where can people find you if they so wish to hunt you with spears?
Same as usual, guys. You can find links to all of my published work over at strangeplaygrounds.com. Most recently had a short story published in the collection, The Book of Queer Saints, which is up for a couple of awards now, potentially. We're on the ballot. We learned recently we're being discussed to go on the ballot for the Bram Stoker Awards.
Oh, wow.
If we get that, that's one of the biggest rewards in horror. If we can get on that ballot, that is friggin' amazing. So fingers crossed. Yeah, you can find my most recently published short story collections, The Books of Blood volumes 1 and 2, no, Born in Blood, sorry, The Books of Blood of Clive Barker, Born in Blood volumes 1 and 2 over at Perpetual Motion Machine Publications. Apart from that, you can find a lot of my articles and essays and whatnot about all things horror and genre related at gingernutsofhorror.com and in the periodical Dark Moon Digest. You can come and watch me play Elden Ring and various other bits and pieces over at Exaggerated Elegy, and we're also doing quite a lot of podcasty series at the moment over there, and you can also come and chat to me at Enigmatic Elegy on Twitter.
Excellent stuff. As for myself, you can find me here. Bye. You can also find me at Twitter at Grufflock. You can find me on Facebook if you so wish. My Facebook feed is not the most interesting thing in the world, I'm afraid, as I'm slowly but surely coming away from Facebook more and more, I think, apart from the groups I'm part of. You can find my artwork at adnickel.weebly.com. You can find this show and all the articles that we create at thefluffenhammer.com. You can find us on YouTube, but just come to the website and look at everything through that, because that's the little massive places that you can go to where all of my ideas are birthed. I want to try and do something about Chapter X over the weekend. And if nobody remembers what I'm talking about, you'll be surprised at what I've got. What else can I say? Find us on Patreon, fluffenhammer.com/Patreon/Fluffenhammer/Fluffy Patreon. I don't know what it is. Patreon.com/TheFluffenhammer. Come and join us. There's plenty of stuff there to keep you busy for the rest of your natural life and possibly into your unnatural one too. Outside of that, follow these two because they do stuff I really do nowadays. And come join us. It's good. Fluffs. Be a fluffer. Go on, be a fluffer. You know you want to. Be a fluffer. And with all that being said, we're going to say bye-bye now. Bye-bye now.
Bye, guys.
Did you want me to end the stream?
now.